When the stars shine bright through the engine's trail and the dust of another world drops behind. When my ship is free of the open sky, it's a damn good day to my way of mine. There's a barren planet you never can leave. There's a rocky valley where we lost a war. There's a cross once hung around a soldier's neck. There's a man's fate died on serenity's floor. But I stood my ground and I'll fly once more. It's the last oath that I ever swore. So take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Take me out into the black, tell 'em I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. You can't take the sky from me. Now when you see a man and he's standing alone, well, you might just take him for an easy mark. And there's many a man who's tried his hand, and there's worse than wolves in the borderland dark. From the savage men to the government hounds, try to take what's yours and tear you through. How but them that run with me's got my back. It's a fool don't know that his family's his crew. Don't you tell me what I cannot do. Don't you think I've got to run from you? Just take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Take me out into the black, tell 'em I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. You can't take the sky from me. When you've walked my road and you've seen what I've seen, well, you won't go talking about righteous men. You know damn well why I want to keep to my sky. Never cry neath nobody's heel again. I seen torment raked across innocent souls, seen sane men mad and good men die. I've been hounded, hated, married and tricked. I've been tortured, cheated, shot and tied. You won't see no tears when I say goodbye. I still got my family and the fireflies. So take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Take me out into the black, tell 'em I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. You can't take the sky from me.
Okay, welcome to Flying Internet Spaceships. I am your host, Malcor Rex, and hopefully everything is going to work. I had last minute doubts. I'm not even sure the video just streamed. If you're in chat, let me know what you're seeing, and if you're hearing my voice, if you're hearing the voice of the other panelists. And for some reason, like I said, I have last minute doubts that I had my setup. Everything is all good, Tamiya says. All right. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is Flying Internet Spaceships. I'm your host, Malcor Rex. We have a great panel today. Since this is the premiere episode, the very first episode, episode 1 of Flying Internet Spaceships, I just want to talk a little bit about what you can expect from this show. So far, we have scheduled episodes on Saturday and Sunday. The theme for our Sunday show is going to be the new player experience. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And Saturday show, if you wish to join us, next Saturday will be the first Saturday show, and that show is entitled Shit Talk Saturday. A fun show that we're going to do where people can come on and basically say anything that they want to say, and maybe get a little high, a little buzzed, drink a little alcohol, and have some fun. A good weekend show. Like I said, today's show will be about the new player experience. And I think that I've pretty much decided I'm also going to do a show on Monday. We're going to talk about the EVE Online economy. And so that'll be our next scheduled show. You can learn a lot about the channel on the Twitch page below. You can see the schedule. You can also, if you've never played EVE Online and you'd like to start playing it, there's a link there where you can click it and you'll get 1,000,000 skill points, which is a great head start if you're a new player to EVE Online. And that helps out the channel. There's a donation link below if you care to donate. Going forward, we will use those donations for equipment for the stream to try to make it better and more entertaining for you. The chat rules. Let's talk about that just really quick because chat is a big part of the Twitch experience. The rules are basically don't piss me off. All right. This is a talk show. Don't attack or try to bait or insult my panelists or myself. Don't try to bait or insult each other in the chat. Try to keep it civil. That doesn't mean you can't express your opinions, and you can express strong opinions. I'm all in favor of free speech. But let's keep it civil. Let's be nice to each other. There won't be any warnings. I'm just going to ban people. So if you're a toxic piece of shit, then you're going to get banned. And you can fill out the little form and beg for forgiveness if that's what you want or not. I really don't care. But I'm really kind of open-ended. You can shoot links, but you must follow the channel in order to even participate. I think that's a fair trade-off. So if you're watching and you're not yet able to chat, it's because you haven't followed. So hit the follow button and then you can participate in the chat. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in so quickly to the channel. I thank you for joining me this afternoon. And if there's any technical problems, please yell out in the chat. I can see the chat, and if somebody's voice is too low or too high, if you can't see the video or whatever, then please let me know in chat, and I'll do the best I can. I have a decent amount of experience in live streaming Twitch, but I've been out of the business for a while, about a year. So I might be a little rusty, and I might ask for you guys' patience and your help, and I will appreciate that. Please hit the follow button if you like the channel. And so let's jump into it. We're going to start the show off. Excuse me. We're going to start the show off with a review because the show is the new player experience. I felt this was an appropriate episode to do a review of something that I ran across that I just think is fantastic, and it has really changed and made a lot easier the way that I play EVE Online. Now, a little bit about myself real quick. I am an EVE Online addict. EVE, I'm one of those people, EVE is my life. I'm retired, and happily so, and I made a promise to myself that if I made it this far, if I made it to my retirement, if I managed to get my retirement house, which I have a beautiful home in the mountains. I'm streaming right now from the mountains of Mexico, central Mexico. and Eve is my life. I love it. Streaming is very secondary to that. There's nothing whatsoever that stands between me and flying internet spaceships. I love it. I also participate in Eve Echoes, and I dabble in a bunch of different other simulations, space simulations, and um, avatar-based full body simulations like OpenSim and Second Life, and I'll talk about that some other time. But it is my sort of my full-time hobby is EVE Online, and so this first thing that we're going to do, this review of this browser, it's called Opera GZ. If anybody wants to look it up and download it and give it a spin, and we're going to take a look at it here in a second. Um, Anything, I have limited resources. My laptop is a really decent high-end business laptop that was also rated for gaming, but it's not a gaming machine. I don't have the big giant graphics card that can heat up your home while it makes your graphics better. I don't have any of that. Hopefully, maybe someday I'll have that, but I don't. So I have limited resources, and I think a lot of other people play the way I play. They have limited resources. And what I discovered using Opera GZ is it's not only an excellent gaming browser, a way to organize um, the browsing experience specifically for gamers, but it is excellent browser for conserving and monitoring the resources that you're using on your computer while you're gaming. And I just want to give a quick caveat. We did invite the Opera GZ people to come on the show today. They have a Discord channel. We didn't hear back from them, so but they did have an opportunity to come on and also speak about their incredible browser. So I'm going to flip over now. Hopefully, you guys will be able to, in a moment here, see the browser. So this is Opera GZ. You can just Google that up if you want to give it a try. It's pretty easy to find. Um, Over here, you can see I've got this is my actual working browser. This is I've got all my gaming stuff up. You can see I've got the Pandemic Horde website. I've got Dotlin. This is the map of Delve and the big war we're all involved in, etc., etc. But what's really exciting about Opera GC is it integrates a lot of the features that we as EVE Online players, and I guess generally gamers, uh, use. It integrates them all into one sort of one thing, and so you don't have to have all of these extra apps open that are bleeding away your computer's resources. You have slimmed down versions. So for instance, you see on the side here, I've got my WhatsApp, I've got my Twitter, I can pop it out. See, and there's my Twitter feed. And then I've got the Discord here, and you can see I'm in the green room for the show in the Twitter. It's got Twitch. So I can pop open Twitch and I can see all of my favorite channels, all the channels that I follow. It will actually give me notifications. I can set up to even get audio notifications for the various sort of Twitch channels that I follow and watch. It's got some extra stuff. For instance, I got a crypto wallet where I can pop that open, and here is my crypto wallet. That's my Ethereum address and whatnot. I can and I do take Bitcoin and Ethereum donations if anybody wants to shoot me some coins. But it's got my crypto wallet. Over here is my history, my extensions. But one of the features that I really like, that I really dig, it's called GX Control. And if you pop this open and give it a second to load, what it does is it monitors my entire system. And it shows me each tab here that I've got open and how much RAM and how much CPU each of those tabs is using. And then it's got a feature called Hot Tabs Killer. So I can begin killing off tabs if I discover that my machine is starting to bog down, my game isn't going as good as I would like it. I can use the Hot Tabs Killer to begin killing off the most resource heavy of the tabs until I get to a place that I'm happy with. And then I can actually limit how much the browser is going to use. Like say I want to set an upper limit either on network bandwidth or on resources. I can set limits to how much the browser will use. And then down here, I've got sort of a master meter. I can see how much RAM I'm using overall, how much CPU I'm using overall, and I can set limits on, again, on how much of that resource the browser is going to take back. Now, this feature may, well, again, if you're on a high-end, super high-end gaming machine, these features may not, this particular feature may not be the real sell point for this browser. But for me, again, for a lot of people, for especially new players who are working with a limited amount of resources, a laptop or just a regular desktop, this particular feature can really help you out a lot, because your browser, if you check your, and I think is now on this tab here, and I can monitor the resources of the entire computer and specifically the resources that my browser is using. So overall, I can't say enough about Opera GX. I've been using it now for about 2 weeks. I haven't found anything wrong with it. I love the features. I love the integration of being able to check my WhatsApp messages, being able to check my Twitter, all really at the push of a button. And I've run some sort of tests. I don't have any exact numbers. I'm not like scientific about this, but I've run some tests to see whether or not, like say for instance, doing Twitter this way, okay, does it take up less resources than say if I opened up Twitter in a full tab, like on Google Chrome or Edge. And it appears that these tabs use a great deal less resources, these pop-outs, than they would if I had the full sort of app running, like especially Discord seems to use a lot less in the pop-out version in Opera GZ than it does if I'm running it standalone on my desktop. There are other features that I've yet to add here, and you'll get a whole list of them when you download. When you first download, you'll get a start page. It looks something like this. And then there's GX Corner, which is actually pretty cool. You can join the Opera GX Discord and get all kinds of free stuff. They're constantly giving away free gamer stuff in the Opera GZ Discord, and then they're constantly keeping you notified. Here's a space MMO being advertised, all sorts of great stuff, and occasionally EVE Online actually pops up in one of these news articles, and these various offers and advertisements that GX Corner gives you, and that's up in this top part, although you can put it on the sidebar if you want. So all the way around, I just have to say I'm really impressed by this browser. I think that there's a lot of things that they can improve. They have a great development team, and I think they're constantly going to improve this browser and update it. But I am extremely impressed by what I've seen so far. It has made my life easier as a EVE Online gamer. Like I said, the majority of the time I spend on my computer is spent playing EVE Online. So it's definitely made my EVE Online experience a lot more tidy, and it saves a lot of resources for the game itself. So I recommend everybody. It's got. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars for now. 4 out of 5. I think that there are a few things that could be added and improved. And like I said, they have a Discord where you can give that sort of input directly to the developers and talk to them and suggest things. I think there's room for improvement. You can have your extensions too. I just wanted to point out my Google Translate, because I'm in Mexico, is very important to me. So I was able to incorporate the translation function of Google Chrome, I was able to put an extension in here. So all my extensions as well will appear here in this side column, which I just think is a very, very nice way of organizing all of these modules and your extensions. So there it is. There's the Opera GZ browser. I'm going to flip back now to uh, hopefully get back to the live scene. There we go. So hopefully you guys all saw that. Oh no, did the sound die for real? Oh no. Did you guys get all that? I hope you guys got it. Oh, okay, okay, cool. Well, it might have been me because I've got push to talk set. Okay, we got it. Good, good, good. So I give Opera GZ, just to sum up, I give it 4 stars out of 5. I think that if you're a hardcore gamer, whether or not you have a really high-end machine and you just need to tidy up your apps and organize the things that you do in gaming, or whether you're like me and it's an important aspect of saving resources on your machine, I estimate, and this is just a rough estimate. I didn't do a really scientific sort of what do you call benchmarks or anything like that. But I estimate it saves probably about 10% of my resources on my CPU, my RAM, and my GPU that are built into my laptop. It saves me about 10%, which is 10% that I desperately need because I'm pretty much right up against the bars. I really like to play EVE online with full graphics, full detail, high definition. And like I said, I'm working with a high-end business laptop. It's a great laptop. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's even rated for gaming, but it's not a gaming machine, and it does tend to Eve Online can definitely, especially during the big battles in World War B2 and whatnot, it can definitely Eve Online starts to wants all the resources. It wants it all, and the Opera GZ browser I have found has allowed me to shut a lot of different things off that were taking up a lot of resources and incorporate them instead into a lighter version that is built into that sidebar. I recommend everybody to try it. Let me know what you think. You can, I don't know, how would you get up with me? You can get up with me on Twitter, by the way. My Twitter feed is Malcor Rex, all one word, on Twitter. And let me know what you think of Opera GZ. And as improvements come and different updates and upgrades come to Opera GZ, I'll probably do another review at some later point. But I recommend it. 4 stars out of 5, guys. Give it a try. I think it can really help you out. All right. So our topic today, today's theme for today's show is the new player experience. Um, there's so much to talk about with this subject that I actually decided it's going to be the theme for every Sunday. We're going to talk about this because there's no way to cover this topic in one show. So I want to start out by reading something to you. We met a new bro, I think about 2 weeks back in Ron USMC's chat room. He was streaming on Twitch, and we met this new bro, and we had an encounter. All of us, including Ron, had an encounter with him. And I'm just going to read to you directly from his uh, character sheet on his uh, character in-game character. Just give me a second. So he says, I'm a new bro, and I attempted uh, 67 jumps in an Atron in order to uh, view the first ever Keep Star with a quantum core. And this was like on day number 2, by the way, of his Eve experience. Um, he gives his thanks out to Ron USMC, Lothar Mandrake, myself, Malcor Rex, and the rest of the community for making that trip a memorable one. And so basically what happened is he jumped into the chat. Ron USMC challenged him. He said I can get to the war front. I can get there to the war and see this Keepstar battle and see this new Keepstar get anchored. And it was 67 jumps. And so you know how Ron USMC is, just off the cuff. He was like, hey, if you make it, I think he offered him a billion ISK. He said, if you make it in one piece, I'll give you a billion ISK. And so the stream went on, and not many of us didn't really think too much about it, but I kind of kept track in the chat. I was kind of watching out of the corner of my eye in the chat as he made jump after jump after jump, 67 jumps. And he ended up dying 2 gates away from his goal. And because it was actually friendly forces, it was friendly fire, he was not killed by a goon gate camp. He was killed by a Pappy gate camp. Ron decided to go ahead and give him, I think, at least part of the reward that he had offered, and the rest of us also chipped in millions of ISK that this fellow Siggy, as he's known on Twitch, he's called I37. If you want to look him up on in game. I believe his username is I37. And it was just a remarkable thing to me to see this new player. I remember my first few hours and day or two in EVE, I was terrified to die. I was terrified to lose my ship. I was all alone. I didn't even know about Twitch streams until maybe a few days later. I cannot imagine being in your second day in EVE and jumping into a stream and then jumping into a ship, an Atron it was, by the way, and making such an incredible adventure, to make 67 jumps and come so close to getting into nullsec, excuse me, actually, the war front. It's just a remarkable story. We invited Siggy to come on the show. He wasn't able to make it, but we're going to have him on one of these Sundays. We're going to have him on and have him tell the story himself from his perspective. But it sort of sets a theme about what I want to talk about today. One of the things about this show, Flying Internet Spaceships, is I want to give a voice to people we don't usually hear on Twitch. We hear a lot of talk about the new player experience. I've watched whole streams done by Talking In Stations and CCP on the new player experience, but it's so rare that you actually get to hear from an actual new bro about what it's like. And we have a new bro today in the chat. I'm going to take the moment now to introduce our panel. Today with us, we have TamiyaCowboy, who is an absolutely incredible streamer. Tamiya was my first stream that was quote unquote new bro friendly when I began playing EVE Online. Again, like I said, I felt like I was alone. I was scared to die, scared to lose my ships. I didn't know what any of it meant. I barely understood even what clones were or that you can't really die. I didn't understand any of that. And I lurked for a long time in Tamiya's streams and learned a lot. And then I asked a question. And what really amazed me about Tamiya is that he stopped the entire stream. It was almost embarrassing. He stopped his entire stream just to focus on me and my question and the fact that I was new. He gave me gifts. He gave me ISK. People then began to also jump in and offer me more ISK and ships and advice and corporations to join. And all of that made me suddenly feel like I was part of something. It made me feel like I was part of a community and not just playing a game. And it made the difference for me. It really sold me on EVE Online, and it's why I invited him here. So we have TamiyaCowboy with us. I encourage you to follow him on Twitch. His channel is TamiyaCowboy, twitch.tv/TamiyaCowboy. I'm sure somebody can shoot his link in there. I'm on press to talk, so I can't take my fingers off the key. I'll shoot it when he starts talking. We have with us, I hope I pronounced this right because I forgot to ask you before the show, Gay Heiyuu. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Um, and we're going to talk about his corporation and his alliance, which focuses also Guy. Okay, Guy Heiyuu. Uh, okay, I'm doing my best, guys. Thanks for your patience. And we have him also on the panel today. He's going to talk about his corporation and alliance, and also he's going to talk about some friends of his that do a thing called, and I hope I get this right, red versus blue. Um, and he's going to talk about what that's all about because they were invited to come, but they have a conflict, another meeting, so they couldn't make it. And then we have Bronze Thread 77, who is our new bro. He is all I know about him. I know very, very little, and he knows almost nothing about us or me or this stream. We wanted to sort of keep it that way. So he's really getting thrown in the water here head first, guys, today. All I know about him is he's a very new player. He's enthusiastic about Eve. That was the only requirements, and he's going to get thrown in head first today on a live stream, and we're going to find out from him, what is it like to be a new bro? Because it's easy to sit here and talk about the new bro experience, talk about what we offer them, and how we feel their experience is, but it's completely different to talk to an actually new person and find out, how is Eve doing? Eve has come a long way. Eve has changed a lot since all of us were new bros. So what is it like today in Eve Online to be a new bro? So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to start with Tamiya, and I want to just have him talk about his experience. Tamiya, I'd like to know, first of all, when did you start playing Eve Online? And what was your new person experience like?
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gents. My name is TamiyaCowboy. I am part of Streamfleet. I'm one of the admin, and I am here to talk to you about new players because that's what I like to do. I like to help new players. So I started playing EVE Online in 2006. So I am 14 years in the game. Uh, Currently, I fly in my own corporation, and I am also in Pandemic Horde. I have currently 228 million skill points, so I'm not exactly a new player. Um, but I encounter new players a huge amount on my stream when I'm streaming. When I first came to EVE Online, EVE was a very different. It was a very different place to what you've got now. Like the tutorial was basically, here's a ship, here's the keys, that's the undock button, off you go. Yeah, it was really, really like the tutorial was like the most shortest paperback book you've ever read. You'll open the front page. There's one page that says hello, and then you turn the page, and that's it. That's the end of the story. That's how it was. My first day in EVE Online was just learning to fly from Caldari space all the way up to Galante space, where first off, when I first came to EVE Online, I didn't even know about EVE Online. I was actually playing league fights in Counter Strike Source. I was an FPS player, doing leagues and that, and my clan or my group of people who I used to, PvP FPS with, they actually played EVE Online. And I said to them, "Hey guys, are we going to go out on training tonight? We're going to go do some squads and that. Catch up, on being a group and that." And they're like, "No, we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing this other game, Eve Online." And I was like, "Oh yeah, send me a link." So basically, they sent me a video from Twitch, um, and it involved a corporation called Veto Corp, who the CEO was a chap called Ethan Verone, aka CCP Falcon. Now I sat and watched this video, and I was mind blown. I was like, "No, there can't be a game that looks that awesome." So I went over to the EVE Online website, signed up, joined up, came into the game. I was like, "Hey guys, what should I do? What character should I play? Who should I be?" They're like, just choose Caldari because it's the most easiest to fly. So I became Caldari. I was like, where are you guys at? And they were like, we're in a place called Galante Space. Set your destination to this system. And they linked the system to me. And they said, right, fly here and we'll meet you there. So I undocked after I found the undock button that is in the left-hand bottom corner of your client back then. Yeah, that's where the undock was, in the bottom left-hand corner of the client. So I found the undock button, undocked, and autopiloted around 40 jumps all the way to Galante Space in a Corvette, where I instantly jumped into a level 4 mission and died. I went back to the station, got in another Corvette, walked back to the mission, and died again. I weren't going to give up, so I jumped into a third Corvette, jumped into the mission, and in this time, instead of flying directly towards the rats, I kind of headed towards the rats, the pirates in the mission, but an angle, so they missed me a lot. I ended up making about 5 million ISK, and I thought I was mega rich until one of my buddies turned around and gave me 25 million ISK and said, "No, you're a little bit more richer. I have about 3 billion ISK, so don't worry about it." So I was like, oh my god. Now, I'd watched this video and I kept going back. Even when I was in this mission, I was on my computer, tabbing out of Eve, watching this YouTube video over and over and over again. And I said to the guys, who's this Veto Corp? What are they? And they said, oh, they're low-sec pirates. They're really dangerous. You don't want to go have nothing to do with them. I was like, all right. So off I went to the EVE Online forums, trawled the EVE Online forums, found their in-game channel, joined their in-game channel, and basically went back to my buddies and said, hey, within this year, I'm going to join Veto Corp. And they all laughed and called me an idiot and everything like this. So I kind of started to fall out with them. They started just taking the mickey out of me, you know, calling me stupid and that. And I was an imbecile for trying to do that and that. And I was like, right, I'm going to go and, I'm going to go and join Veto Corp. So I went over to them. I said, hey, how do I join you guys? They're like, how many skill points you got? I was like, I have like 328,000 skill points. And they were like, and then Vrone came in, like the CEO. He said, well, you're going to need at least 10 million skill points, Tamiya. I was like, okay, I'll do that. So off I went. Started to do level 1 missions. Started to get level 2 missions, level 3 missions. I got to level 4 missions within about 2 months of playing. Flying a Drake. And basically, I'd accrued a lot of LP over this time. I didn't know what LP was really back in them days. So I started to sell implants to the Veto pilot, to the people in Veto Corp. And they'd say, hey, can you get me this implant? And I was like, yeah, I got loads of them. How many do you want? Just one. How much is it? I was like, half the price of what they charge in Jita. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, just give me that much. So I kept doing this, and over around 7 months, I made around 20 billion ISK. I went back to Verone, and I was like, hey, I have 10 million skill points now. And he's like, do you know how to PvP? I was like, no. He's like, do you have a kill board? I was like, yeah, I got one of them. So I showed him a kill board that's totally empty. He said, you need to learn how to PvP. So go and try and PvP. So I went out. I went and with my money, I bought 5 Feroxes, fitted them out, and jumped into the closest low-sec system I could find. I jumped into the system in my first Ferox, and I died to a Myrmidian. So that was my first death. So I jumped back into another Ferox, jumped back into the exact same system, and died to a Blackbird and a Myrmidian. And I was like, hell no, this is not working. I can kill these guys. I know I can do it. Got into my third Ferox, jumped in, and I died to a Myrmidian, a Blackbird, and a Raven. And I was, yeah, no, most people by then would just say, I'm giving up on this. I've lost 3 ships. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I did it the 4th time. Died again. I jumped in my 5th ship. That was it then. I had 5 ships I was going to do it with. I jumped into my 5th ship, um, jumped into the same system. There was 2 ravens, 2 blackbirds, and a Myrmidon, and I died. I just instantly died. And they convoed me and said, "Hey, you've got some balls. You know, keep doing this. You just keep feeding the ships. You got some balls. Do you want to join us?" And I was like, "No, I want to join Veto." And as soon as I said no, I want to join Veto Corp, they instantly podded me. It's like, I think they knew who Veto Corp was. So I went back to Veto Corp and I was like, "Hey, Verone, or in our term, ex-CCP Falcon." I was like, "Hey, Verone, I learned how to PvP." He's like, "Show us your killboard then." So I showed him a killboard. There was 5 Ferox deaths. It's like, give me a couple of days. So I went off, you know, just done my thing, doing my level 4 missions and that, just chilling. And next thing you know, I get a conversation off Verone. And he's like, "I want to talk to you." I was like, "Cool." So he asked me a few questions and that. And then he turned around and he said, "I want you to go to this system, a system called Pasari. I want you to dock up there, and I want you to apply into the Corp." I was like, "Okay." He said, "I've sat, and we don't make this choice very often. Normally it's around, out of 100 people that join the corporation who actually put in applications to join that corporation, only 2 or 3 people actually get in." And I was one of these 2 or 3 people. They wanted to take me under their wing and teach me everything they knew as a new player. So I jumped in, I joined them, and I'd only just bought my first Tech 2 ship, and it was a Tech 2 Ishkur. And so I've been in the Corp about an hour, and Verone comes onto comms and says, "Tammy, here you got a ship?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What you got?" He's like, "I got an Ishkur. I just now got it. It's insured and everything." And he laughed. And he's like, "Okay, right, I want you to go to this system. I want you to fly to this guy. When you get in there, there's a guy. He's gonna put an X in the in-game channel, in the Corp channel. I want you to fly to him at 10 kilometers. You know, warp to him at 10 kilometers, and then you're gonna attack the ship that's on grid there with him. You're gonna attack it. You're gonna put your warp scrambler on it, and you're not gonna put your Webifier on it. In fact, you're gonna take your Webifier off your ship right now." So he literally made me take my Webifier off my ship. So off I went into this low-sec system, walked to the guy, got on grid, and the first thing I said was, "Are you really sure you want me to do this?" On comms. This was on Ventrilo. And he was like, "Yeah, tackle it." I was like, "Verone, this is the size of a goddamn moon. Am I meant to really shoot this thing?" It's like, "For God's sake, Tammy, just activate your modules on it and just start shooting the damn thing. We're now on our way." What it had done is it actually got me to warp onto a Thanatos that was in a safe spot. So I warped to 10 kilometers on a Thanatos, a capital ship, and tackled it in a Tech 2 assault frigate. He really kind of egged me on. He was like, "How you doing, Tammy?" I'm like, "Yeah, the drones are chasing me." Because back in them days, they didn't have fighters. They had just normal drones. I'm like, "Yeah, the drones are chasing me and they're killing me." He's like, "What's your shields at?" I go, "What shields? I don't have any." He's like, "What's your armor like?" I'm at half armor. And he was like, "Oh, just keep tackling them. You're all right. We'll be there in a minute. We'll be there in a minute." And he kept updating me. He's like, "Yeah, we're a couple of jumps out. We're on our way. We're on our way." And then he turns around and says, "Are you still alive, Tammy?" And I turned around and I said, "Yes, but my ship is on fire." Now, back in them days, when your ship took hull damage, the ship had a had fire coming out of it. So my ship was literally on fire. I was about 12% hull on this frigate. I was basically going down in this Tech 2 frigate. It was the first ever one I had. You know, that was my nearest and dearest ship I had. And so I'm just panicking. I don't know what to do. I've never PvP'd before really. All I've done is lost ships. You know, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm orbiting this ship that's the size of a goddamn moon, that's basically trying to kill me. And he turned around and he says, "You're okay, we're here now." And the next thing I see is this purple blob come flying towards me. And I'm like, yes, I'm not going to die. I look down, hover over my ship, and I'm at 4% structure. So the ship is basically dead. I'm basically dead. And I'm sitting there and I'm praying to God that I won't die and I have to, I have to go. I'm just praying to God that my ship will blow up and I won't get tackled and I'll get my pod out. And I'm sitting there watching my overview and I notice my armor go to totally full. And then I notice my shield go totally full. I'm flying around with like 4% hull, but everything else is repaired. The logistics crew came out of warp and literally caught me just in time before I died. That is my experience of being a new player. I trained 10 million skill points in anything. They weren't exactly PvP skills; they were just basically anything I trained in. But that was my first experience of being a new player. I was around 7 months old then. Yeah, I mean. So
So,
most of my time was basically just doing missions, and that was my first real experience of actually being with people who would teach me what to do. And from there on, they basically taught me everything I know. What I teach new players now is what I learned from all the guys in Veto Corp, like Verone, Izo Azalon, Smog Monster, Bone, Rule of the Bone. All the guys in there just taught me everything, including a guy called Dark Elf, rest his soul, who passed away. But they taught me everything I know, and I now teach new players everything I know.
so your sort of window into Eve was PvE, and for those who are just completely unfamiliar, I don't want to talk down to anybody. I want to explain these terms. PvE is player versus the environment. That's what it actually stands for, and it means that you're playing against sort of nowadays anyway. It's AI driven. Um, uh, non-player characters, NPCs, and groups and corporations and factions. So your window, Tamiya, was PVE, but then your sort of entrance into the community was through folks um, gathering you in and teaching you PvP, which is player versus player.
Kind of, yeah. So what I was so basically when I joined Veto Corp, what they did was they were pirates, and we would go out and we would hunt people in low security space. We would tackle them, put our guns on them, and instead of killing them, we would stop shooting at them at a certain time. At a certain point, like halfway through their armor, we'd stop shooting them. We'd open up a private conversation with them and just say to them, "Hey, guy, don't repair your ship. Do not try and shoot us. If you want to save your ship, all you need to do is pay us X amount of risk. We will let you go, and you can go and do whatever you want to do. We'll let you go." Now, a lot of people said yes, and some people said get lost and kind of died and lost their ships.
So now you talked briefly about, of course, you joined the game like a million years ago. You're an ancient. You're what we would call in the game one of the ancients. And you talked about how you watched the same YouTube video over and over again to try to get knowledge and learn and stuff. Talk a little bit about how you feel Twitch and live streaming has altered the new player experience, because I came into this and there was nothing but Twitch. I think I discovered Twitch within 48 hours, and that was simply seeking knowledge, going on Google and how do I do this, how do I do that. Eventually, if you run even 3 or 4 searches on how to learn stuff in Eve, you're going to run across Twitch and the live streams. And so I was immediately, like I said in the beginning, your stream, your particular stream was, if not my first, it was certainly one of my first streams that I ever tuned into. And for me, it was such a relief. I mean, it was like, oh my God, I can totally learn this game now because there are these live streams, there are these people here in these chat channels, and it was just overwhelming relief that I felt almost instantly when I stumbled upon the live Twitch stream. So talk to me, tell me about how important you think, how do you feel, how important you feel the Twitch streams are to the current new player experience.
So back when I first started in 2006, YouTube was fairly prevalent. You know, there was a lot of videos on there, but these videos were not teacher tutorial videos. These were just showcase. You know, showcasing people going out and doing PvP and stuff like that. No fits were ever shown. There was nothing to teach you anything about EVE Online. You learned from inside the game. People would give you a fit, and they'd basically tell you how to fly that fit, and if you died, you died, and you went back and tried it again. Now we have Twitch, and Twitch really has changed the game. Like, for me, it's an amazing thing, you know. You have to remember, when I first started playing EVE Online, we didn't have Twitch. If someone turned around to me in 2006 and says, hey, I'm going to go live and live stream my game on the internet, we'd basically laugh at him and just tell him that he needed to go and visit a doctor, because he might be, you know, he might be losing his marbles a little bit, you know. There was no there was no Twitch back in them days, nothing at all. Yeah. Fast forward to 2017. 2017, November the 17th, 2017 is when I started streaming. That's when everything changed for me, because I literally came into something that I'd never experienced before. I didn't even know what Twitch was back then. I'd watched, I took a 4-year break when I had a heart attack, and I sat and watched Bjorn B and Zarvox Toro. I didn't join their channel or anything. I didn't even sign up to Twitch. I just put Twitch on, searched for Bjorn B, searched for Zarvox. If they were live, I'd sit and watch them. I never got a chance to interact with them, but I sat and studied them. And I wanted to stream. And what I did was I studied them and the way they interact with their viewers. And that's where I learned that what I wanted to do was teach new players. Because Bjorn and Zarvox would literally sit there and say, hey, this is what went wrong in this fight. You attacked me, and you had these modules fitted on your ship, and you should have fitted these modules. And it opened my eyes up, and I was like, wow, you know, Bjorn is doing something really cool. He's teaching people, he's showing people, you know, he's literally streaming his experience in EVE Online, but he's actually teaching people at the same time. And it's the same with Zarvox. Zarvox went really, really deep. Zarvox Torel, bless him, he went really, really deep into fits and showing people how to fit their ships and all stuff like that. And I decided that, hey, because all these guys were doing PvP, there was very few people doing PvE and teaching PvE. And I just decided that I should do that. I should literally start streaming and teach people how to do this, how to literally play, you know, literally how to play the game, literally how to fit a ship, you know, all this sort of stuff. So that's what I started to do. I started a stream in November 2017.
Now, Tamiya, you just mentioned something interesting. You said when you first started streaming, you immediately lit upon the idea of teaching new players and helping new players. But why is that so important? I mean, we've got tens of thousands of concurrent players at any given moment. We got enough players. Why do we need more? Why do we need new players? Why does that even
Well,
matter?
for me, it was karma. You know, I'd been out there for, you know, a good year or so killing new players, old and new players, and I felt bad that I'd been doing that. I'm being totally honest. I kind of I'm not that sort of person. That's why I left VideoCorp. I couldn't do it anymore. I felt bad for what I was doing because I understood the struggles of new players because I'd been a new player. I didn't think about, oh, that's my next, you know, that's my next 5 million ISK that's going to allow me to go and buy another ship or fit these modules to this new ship that I've got. I felt that I was doing a bad thing. I couldn't do it anymore. I basically said to the guys, hey, it's been an amazing, you've taught me everything I could know. thank you for having me and taking me under your wing and teaching me all this shit in EVE Online. But I'm gonna, you know, take my own path and do my own thing.
Okay, so
Um, Teaching new players is just something that has to be done. The tutorial doesn't really do much, okay? It teaches you the very basics. It doesn't teach you everything you really need to know in EVE Online. And most people learn EVE Online to play EVE Online through watching streamers. So if you're a streamer, a good thing is to teach these new players. If they ask you a question, just answer it. It doesn't do nothing. Like Malcor said, I will stop my stream or whatever I'm doing in the middle of a stream. I could be fighting like 15 NPCs. I will literally open up my fitting screen and I will fit someone a ship. I'll say, hey, do you have a My Midian fit? Nope, but I'll make one right now. And I will literally sit there in the middle of a mission and literally build a fit for them. And then I'll show it on the screen, and I'll even, if they come into my in-game channel, I'll even link them that fit and give them that fit. And that's what I do. I feel that we need new players. If we don't have new players, you're just going to be stuck with us old players. Me, like with 228 million skill points. You're going to be stuck with, you know, you're going to be stuck with veterans. You're not going to have no new life coming into the game. We need new life.
Awesome.
New
Better vets.
players bring in life to Eve. Without them, Eve is not Eve. We need
so,
the new players.
so you talked a lot about your reasons for helping the new players. The other day, we were both in a chat channel. I think we both sort of do the same thing in that we oftentimes in our spare time we look for the new bro streams, the new player streams. And in this case, it wasn't a new bro; it was a new sis. I believe, I hope I don't slaughter her name, Kivia. And we were both in her chat, and you, we all knew from her title of her stream that she was a new Eve player. But you went above and beyond, Tamiya. I mean, you not only helped out with advice and offered, you plexed that girl for a month worth of Omega right off the bat. Now, what was that because she was not just a new streamer, a new player, but a new streamer, and the streamers are also pretty important to Eve and encouraging those new streamers. Talk about that moment and what prompted you to bust open your wallet and Omega that lady. And we invited her on. She's a little shy, by the way, and didn't want. She wants to get a little more time under her belt streaming and playing Eve before she comes on the show. But we did invite her on. But talk about what prompted you to do that, because even I was sort of taken aback by that. I was like, oh my God, he just fucking Omega'd that girl live on the show. Talk about that moment and what were you thinking? Why was she so important?
Why did I do it? I just did it because I could. That was it. It's just because I could. I see a new player. I know the struggles of a new player. I know that they can't go out and they can't go and buy 10 Tristans, or they can't go out and buy a battle cruiser to go and do a mission. They struggle. Making money as a new player is really hard in EVE Online. I'm going to be totally brutal and honest that CCP should really change that, because I feel that new players struggle too much. They get given a venture and they have to go out and mine an adventure and they go and make 5 million ISK and it takes them 4 hours. That's really poor. That's not fair. I feel it's uncomfortable. I sat there and watched her. I noticed her wallet was really low. She was struggling to buy things and stuff with skill books. So I gave her a streamer tick, what we call a streamer tick. I dumped 200 million ISK in her wallet. Why? Because I'm sitting on like 17, 18 billion ISK.
It wasn't just the ISK though. You Omega'd her. You plexed her. That's huge for a new player. I mean, right off the bat. But what I'm trying to get at, I guess, did it have anything to do with the fact that she was not just a new player, but a new player and a streamer?
No, no, it didn't. It was just that I wanted to see her reaction. I do it a lot.
Her
I,
reaction was,
I, I do it a lot on streams. I'll go into a stream and I'll see someone playing and I'll be like, yeah, I want to see how well they handle this. Because a lot of people, they get 3,000, a raid of like 300 people and they freak out and they're like go quiet as a mouse for like 5 minutes and have no clue what to say. I wanted to see what happened. So I basically opened up my wallet, went into EVE Online, got 500 Plex, turned that Plex into an Omega and gifted her an Omega. I wanted to see her reaction. I wanted to see Kiva's reaction, see
It
what
was
she would do.
it was an amazing moment. Her reaction was
She
right on the mark.
so yeah.
She's an amazing good
So but
streamer, and you really did the right thing. No, go ahead, Timmy.
so basically what happened was I gifted her Omega, and because there's a little bit of a stream delay, so I had paid the Omega and I was waiting for the notification to come onto a screen. And when you get Omega, a little box, when someone gives you Omega, a big box comes up in the middle of your screen. It just says you've got Omega and all this. And she see that, and she thought that CCP was trying to make her subscribe into the game. She didn't even know that I'd gifted it to her. She
No,
thought they were
it
trying
was
to.
all.
It was an advert. That's what she thought. That was an advert. She's like, "Oh my god, what have I done? What button? Have I clicked the wrong button and stuff like this?" And I just
It
sat
was
here.
all of us.
I
It was all of us in
yeah,
chat that were telling her.
I was laughing my ass off. I was sitting behind my desk here, watching my screen, watching because I was literally playing in the game. I was literally in Pandemic Horde right then, sitting in a fleet as this was going on. I was literally in a fleet while this was going on. It
And
was really,
that
really funny.
that's actually why we started with Tamiya. Tamiya is a part of Pandemic Horde, and he let me know before the show that he may have to jet to go fight in the war. And so we started with Tamiya. I want to bring Guy Heiyuu into the conversation here. Guy is I want to say, I hope I get this right, the CEO of an alliance called Fly Fearless, and I'm going to let him correct me on. Don't do it, Al. I want to correct. Oh, and I just want to take a brief moment to thank all the followers. I see all you people that are following. Thank you so much. It's so kind of you. I appreciate you being patient with any technical difficulties I had at the beginning, and for listening to the stream, because I think that this stream will be a really great stream going forward. We want to give voice to a lot of people and a lot of interesting esoteric things that are going on in Eve. So Guy is a part of, I guess, the head of the Alliance Fly Fearless. I hope I got that right. And a member and or the boss of a corporation, something mining. I can't remember now. MR
Mission
Mining.
ready.
Say it again.
Mission ready.
Mission Ready Mining. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to let you take it from here. But Guy, first of all, give us an introduction. How long have you been playing Eve? What is your corporation and your alliance? And just start us off. Introduce us to Guy. Who is Guy? What are you doing? And you can even take it a step further. Tell us, what are you doing for new players? How are you helping new players out?
Okay. Well, to take it from the top, yeah, I'm Guy Heiyuu. Um, it's not my first tune that I've ever used. I started Eve back when I don't remember the exact year, but I do remember that Plex was 1 month of game time all at once. It wasn't broken up into 500 itty bitty little pieces. And you could purchase one of those Plex on the market for the fine price of 300 million ISK. It was also a time in Eve when learning skills were the first thing you did. So as a new player back then, it was horrible because you had to train special skills to use ships outside your faction. And then you had to train learning skills to learn skills better.
If you have a speaker going in the background, maybe turn it off. We can hear.
Yeah, I'm killing that right now. My apologies. Is that better, I hope?
Perfect, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. But I don't remember exactly how long ago. I think it was right around the time that Tamiya started. It had to have been, 2000s. But anyway, it's kind of funny. I wanted to speak up so many times listening to Tamiya tell their story. I really resonate with the kind of we are where we are now, kind of as a karma aspect. When I first started playing Eve, the advertisement for Eve was like, you know, it was, well, okay, when I came back to Eve and really started to get into it, the advertisement was be the villain. And I was like, ah, yes, that's why I love this game, being the villain. And I didn't get into piracy. I was, doing the really dirty stuff, but the really fun stuff. I was getting into corporations and, emptying them out. I was having corporations shut down. I was instigating wars between different entities and, the occasional AWOXing. You could hold, back then, uh, it was very difficult to get rid of a court member, and friendly fire was legal by default within a corporation. So what you could do is you could do obnoxious stuff like join a corporation and start killing your corporate members. This is a term called AWOXing, uh, which is coined from a time even before me, from my understanding. But yeah, you'd AWOX your corp members, and you would basically hold the entire corporation ransom. The CEO could not kick you from the corporation so long as you did not dock up in space. So you would be able to join a corporation, safe log in and out of space, and you know basically say, hey, unless you give me this, this, and this, I'm going to continue just sitting off the on dock, killing all the court members, and Concord is never going to save you. I spent too much time doing that, and I left the game for a while, and then I came back, and I was at a crossroads when I came back. I didn't really know where to go. I didn't I didn't want to get back into the corporate espionage and the AWOXing because, like, I felt bad. I did. And there was also APIs now, and that sucked. That made my job a lot more difficult.
Well, let's pause for just a moment in case there's completely new people tuned in right now. What is an API? Why is it important? How did it change the game?
Okay, well, we don't have APIs anymore because while I was gone, they got rid of them and replaced them with ESIs. But basically, an API was a code that you could have that would allow you to import and export and share account information without putting your account at risk. So what corporations would do is they would ask for your API code, and they would say they want a full account-wide API, and that would show all the characters on their account. It would show their wallet, all the wallet transactions, mail history. They would be able to look at your assets. They would be able to basically look up everything on your character sheet except for your account name and password. And it would show it for your whole account, not just the character you were in the corporation with. So people were looking for people that were in other corporations that they didn't get along with. They were looking for wallet transactions, from alts that they could trace around, because information is everything in Eve. There's more websites dedicated towards information gathering in Eve, than there are, well, tutorials, for example. At least when I was, coming into the game. I don't know if there's a ton of tutorials now. Eve University came out and put a ton of content out, which has been super helpful for everyone. But, there wasn't all this information. There was just information about other organizations and groups and people's history and stuff. It's really kind of amazing. It's a mesmerizing aspect of the game. But APIs became a big part of that information gathering.
Right, the ESI now, which is the same thing as the API, and the amount of sites, the websites. I think every week I discover brand new websites. I love the Gate Camp Checker website where you can check on which you can put in a whole route that you're planning on taking across Eve and check for potential gate camps. It'll tell you all the kills and whatnot that have taken place at various gates, who did it and whatnot. And just the amount of information that you can gather now is really. I never knew anything different. These have always been around since I've been in Eve, but I can't imagine playing without that kind of in-game intel, especially doing tricky stuff like being in the war and stuff like that. Without that kind of intel, I mean, you would just endlessly get killed. Um, so, talk a little bit about your corporation and your alliance, and how do you approach new players? What do you offer them? Why would they, for instance, be interested in joining um, your corporation or your alliance?
Okay, well, like I said, the Alliance of Corporation kind of my approach to it, the fly fearless aspect of it really came about as like, part of that guilt for what I'd done. So I came back to the game and I established a small corporation, mission ready mining, and it didn't go anywhere at first. But then I got the idea, hey, I have been many places in Eve. I've been many faces in Eve. I've done almost, well, by my knowledge then, everything there was to do in the game. I had a great amount of information. And as I was saying earlier, information is kind of power. Well, I could share this information with new bros. I could help them out, and I could have my own group. When I tried to play the game legitimately, understand, I was in many corporations that were just very, very poorly run. So I got to see firsthand a lot of the ways that you shouldn't treat your membership and you shouldn't approach other players in the game. For one, players are not tools. You know, these are these are not monkeys on a stick. Every single player is going to evolve with the game and, through their experiences in the game and what they do, they're going to bring an aspect to the game that's unique to them, all to themselves, to anybody who interacts with them. And anybody who's put time into this game knows that, your reputation follows you. The people you know and how you know them is going to carry forward a pretty long way. So to tie that back into the original question, because I know I'm winded, um, I got mission ready mining really going when I started trying to introduce the idea of trying to teach players, because Eve, you can buy game time, as we've discussed. You can buy in-game time with in-game currency. You don't need to pay for this game from outside the game. I was going to teach players how to do that.
That's sort of unique, don't you think? I mean, I've not played, like I said in my own introduction, I've not played a lot of quote unquote games, but I am involved in several other space MMOs, and in those other ones, it's either difficult or completely impossible to actually buy your subscription by in-game activity. That's pretty unusual, don't you think?
Well, it is. I can't think of a single other space game that does that because, for the ones that I've played, obviously, they might be out there. So the only model I can really look at it from is other MMOs. And, World of Warcraft would have been the best candidate for this early on, really. Uh, the only problem is they waited until just a few years ago to introduce something like that. But Eve has been doing it for over, well over a decade. How old is Eve now? Like Eve is getting approaching its 20th birthday, isn't it?
20 years, almost 20 years coming up.
And as far as I know, Eve has always done that. Um, so that aspect is really unique. So I decided to focus on that aspect because I myself have always had financial difficulties. I do not live a bright, sunny, rainbow-filled life. So just paying for my subscription has always been a challenge. Alpha and Omega accounts did not exist at the time. You had a 7-day or a 14-day trial, and that was it. The trial ended. You were either paying for the game or not. And the problem was, by the end of this trial, rarely did you have the skills to actually be able to successfully continue playing the game,
I
for
think
in-game currency.
Tamiya mentioned something like that when he first started that option. It was very difficult. You didn't have any of the tools given to you, and he feels that even now, the tools could be buffed a little bit, that players could be. How do you feel about that? Do you think the players need to have it be made even more easier, like maybe starting alphas out in procurers instead of ventures, that sort of thing? Do you think that that whole thing could be buffed, or do you think it's good?
Blasphemy.
Think
The
it's good?
Venture's an amazing ship. You wash your mouth out. But honestly, on that, I think that Eve is going the right direction. Our alliance, our corporation, we're working together with another group of corporations that may be joining the alliance soon. Fingers crossed. And we're trying to really pin down the art of mastering content that can help players get their accounts online. So you want it to happen within the first 30 days. If you played this game for 30 days and you're still in an alpha account, you're struggling. And without a group like Fly Fearless, without a group like Red versus Blue, without, some kind of supportive group behind you to help you move forward, or the generosity of older experienced players. And at Fly Fearless, just to be clear, we try to avoid donations to new players, just because I think that from a corporation standpoint, as an in-game entity, it instills bad habits. Instead, I try to give them every opportunity to make that money that they can. So they've recently added forward operating bases. There are these pirate outposts that exist in HiSec, and the sites take 30 minutes to an hour to run, but each site can net out a payment like incursions. If you tried incursions, I can come back to that later if you haven't. But Concord will pay out every member of the fleet a significant sum of money, and I believe we had about 15 people in fleet yesterday. I invited Bronze Thread over because he was actually in that fleet. He can, speak to this on his own terms without my influence on it. But it's like a 25 to 30 million ISK payout per site per member of fleet. And when I started playing the game, something like that was impossible, absolutely impossible. If you wanted to make money, you were going out to a belt and you were mining, and you weren't doing it in a venture because a venture did not exist. You were out there in a catalyst because a catalyst has a lot of high slots, and you were jet can mining because it has no friggin' cargo space, and it was terrible. You knew you were good at mining when you were mining in your Megathron, because that's how it was back then. That's the tools we had available. So it's really stepped in the right direction, I think. And I think it's a good idea that it continues stepping in the right direction. We just need, us experienced players, us bitter vets, need to be there to help these new players out, because by themselves, without direction and without the support of a decent sized corporation, it doesn't have to be huge. Like, Maturity Mining has a lot of membership. We do not have a lot of active membership. We do not kick for inactivity. I'm not trying to brag falsities here. So a decent sized corporation has to come together to make this kind of in-game currency to buy in-game time possible. It's not something an independent player under normal circumstances should be expected to be able to do by themselves within that first 30 days. No, CCP has not gotten us there yet.
Now we have a comment in chat. Toxic is saying that we should, in corporations, should kick the inactives. I got mixed feelings about that. I'm a player who was inactive for quite a while, and I came back, and I think I would be pretty hurt if my corporation had kicked me out. I mean, I had to take a necessary break. A lot of people do. They have real life coming up. How do you feel about that? What's your corporation's approach on dealing with inactive players?
Toxic, Toxic and I really know each other. We go back a little ways, and it's kind of funny because kick the inactives is something that comes up in my corporation quite a bit. We've had people outside the corporation demand that I kick the inactives out of the corporation because they didn't like the fact that we appeared bigger than we are in active membership. Here's the problem. I try to be a man of my word now. My days of lying to people to make money in Eve are gone. That's my history, not who I am. And when I set the corporation up, I wanted about 50 people. I wanted to train 50 people into going to incursions so that we could all make money, we could all run incursions together, and that was my whole plan, was a 50-man corp. So I didn't have any reputation in Eve because I had worked under secrecy in the background, deleting alts as fast as I was making them ever since I started. And so to everybody else, I appeared like a brand new player. So I had to encourage people to stay in corp somehow because I had nobody. And I told them, all right, fine. Because most corporations won't accept someone, like if, I think you and I spoke on it. You had trouble finding your corporation because, if you had to go inactive for any period of time, they didn't want you. They didn't want somebody who couldn't be committed every day, day in, day out, especially if your corporation's doing cool stuff. If, mining corporation's about your only bet if you can't be active every day. And that sucks. I've been stung by that. I've seen people get stung by that. I'm pretty sure most people in here, knows what I'm talking about with that. And so I told them, listen, I promise mission ready mining, I will train into the skills, so that we can have a couple thousand people, and I won't kick you for inactivity. Mission ready mining will never kick anyone for inactivity. And
It's,
it
it's,
actually
an,
put me in a,
it's an interesting point because one of the greatest wars, if not the greatest war in the history of EVE Online, if you search back to the beginnings of what we now call World War B2, um, it begins with Billy having come back from inactivity, specifically, by the way, military service, which kind of irked me. That kind of got to me. I'm not a big pro-military guy. I'm not a rah-rah patriot or anything like that. But it really irked me that Billy went off to conduct military service and then came back to the game only to find that not only uh, had he been removed from all of his positions and whatnot in the corporation, but he was not welcomed back. He was not restored to his former positions. And I think that's a pretty poignant story that a lot of people have resonated. A lot of people are fighting this war because of that initial, story that Billy put out in I can't remember which gaming magazine it was now. It escapes me, but reading that article is pretty interesting. And so there's it is a visceral thing. I think that we always try to tell people, real life comes first, real life comes first. And the reason we have to say that at all is because EVE Online is so incredibly addictive. It's so incredibly immersive that it's amazing to me. It's actually a compliment to the game that we have to constantly repeat that to ourselves and to other people, that real life comes first. But you can't say that on one hand and then at the same time penalize people for having taken a break for whatever reason they felt was necessary. I mean, I think isn't the important part that they came back, right? I mean, that would seem to me to be the important part, that they loved Eve enough to make the time back in their life again to come back.
well, yeah, I mean, I could tell you right now, okay, like I had to step away for 2 years. I have a son that was born disabled. He almost died in the hospital. Like spent his first 2 months of life in intensive care. And I lost the family farm. I had a bunch of things happen to me in a very short period of time. I had to have 100% of the teeth in my mouth removed because I had really bad teeth infection going on. All within a really short period of time. I had to step away for 2 years. I kept the Discord for Fly Fearless open. And I don't know how I would have felt had I made the official announcement in Discord, hey, I just opened up mission ready mining recruiting again. If nobody had replied, I half expected it. But I was not put in a position where I had to experience that. Instead, I've got the elation, and I've told the guys this many times. You know, like it blows me away. I have the most amazing respect for the amount of people who, once they heard that I was opening up Mission Ready Mining again, this little corp that I thought would never be bigger than 50 people, I told them I was opening it up again, and probably 20 people ran back. And that to me is incredible. I can't even, you know, I've never gotten that kind of respect in real life. You know, so to be shown that deference now that I've gotten it, you know, I can't imagine how I would have felt had nobody replied. I might have actually been crushed. So I get it. It's
So,
big.
so your Mission Ready Mining is accepting applications from new players who might be tuned in?
Anybody, everybody. I don't care if you just join up with an alt and your main is the Michiani. I really don't care. Everyone is welcome to experience what we have to offer. I try to keep it from no one. The only people that aren't welcome to Fly Fearless are the people that are there to do it harm. The people who are not genuinely there just to enjoy it.
So there you go, folks. There's a link in the chat to Mission Ready Mining. Anybody looking for a corp, a good corp, give it a shot. So I'm hearing your approach to new players and helping them is more focused on the experience, less focused on free ISK and free ships. But there is something to be said for the other approach. My first core when I came back, I should point this out, when I came back the second time into Eve as Malcor Rex, I had a decent amount of experience. I had a few years under my belt. And I reached out to another Galhan corporation. By the way, a shout out to all the Galhan people. Galhan rocks. I don't care what anybody says. You can fuck off if you don't like it. Galhan rocks. It's a great place to live. I'm a proud resident of Galhan. And when I came back, another local corporation in Galhan, who you said you know a lot of the ones in Galhan, I hope you've heard of them, is and we invited Agent Black Bear to come on. He can't do it on Sundays, unfortunately. This is a day when he spends with his family. But at some point, we're going to do a pre-recorded interview with an in-game character by the name of Agent Black Bear, and he is the CEO of Celestial Precision, which is another fantastic local Galhan corporation. And his approach was a little different, and I really appreciated it. Um, he's really good at advertising, very good at targeted advertising. And literally, the minute I rejoined the game as a new tune and popped open my search to search for a corporation, his ad popped right in my face, and it was exactly what I wanted. I mean, it literally, like in the first paragraph, it was, "Hey, if you're a new player and you love to mine and you love industry and you want a really supportive, laid back community, yada, yada, yada." And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's me. And like I said, he had targeted it so well that it was literally popped in my face the minute I searched. I clicked, I joined Celestial Precision. I spent a while with them, and very, very proud former member of CP. Uh, and their approach was a little bit different. It was right away, it was like, what do you want to do? And he didn't try to sell me on one way or the other, PvE, PvP, mining, or industry. What is it you want to do? Do you have any idea? And he knew I told him that I had a little bit of experience, so he kind of left it up to me. And I said, well, I think I want to start with, I want to make some money. I want to mine. I love to mine. It's one of my favorite activities in Eve. And he's like, great, here's 20 million ISK and a box. And he sent me this box, and inside the box was a fully fit venture and a fully fit procurer, T1. And he's like, we got a fleet in an hour. Let's go mine. And it was like literally, boom, there you go. You know what I mean? And I was so grateful. I immediately, I paid him back. I paid him for the ships and paid him the 20 million that he lent me. I don't really need the money that badly. I can always just buy ISK if I have to. I've got it like that in my retirement, but it was very appreciated. I mean, it let me get started like that hour, and that approach really worked for me. I will always be very, very loyal
We
to
kind of lost
Celestial
you
Precision.
there, Rex.
I should be live on both. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I did, Caleb. Can Discord hear me, guys?
Discord can hear you.
Thank you, Bronze. Let's go ahead and bring you in. Um, our final guest panel member today is Bronze Thread 77. I want to give you a huge thank you because you just got tossed in basically headfirst without any idea of what was going to happen. We have no idea what your story is, other than we know that you're an enthusiastic new player of EVE Online. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to begin playing Eve. First of all, I'm very curious about that. What even prompted you to even pick this crazy, insane sandbox up and say, hey, this is something I want to do? Why did you make that choice? And what has your experience been like? How long have you been in, and what has it been like for you?
Well, I found this game out from just watching YouTube. Eve ad came on, and thought it looked cool. I just pop a quick YouTube search on it. Saw remember one of the videos that really brought me in was the video on the economy and how everything was player driven, and that made me like just really like it because I just thought it was so cool that everything was player produced, everything was player sold. There was like it felt like when you play the game, you're part of the world. And so I go in, I do the tutorial, and I need to make money. So after I do that, I'm in my Concorde Corvette. I slap a mining laser on that. I go mine some ore, and I realize this is not worth that much. But one of the I don't know if it's CCP or whatever, but someone part of the new player experience, whatever, basically sent a message to me saying, if you need help, whatever, just ask me. And then I didn't send anything back. I wasn't really having any questions. So after that, they essentially sent me a Heron and a Venture and a full-on kit for the Heron. And so I didn't really care about the Heron, but I mean, well, right before that, I did apply to mission ready mining because I thought, mining industry, that stuff sounds cool, part of the economy. That's why I wanted to join. So I go in, I join, and I hop in my venture, throw some mining lasers on it, and there's really nothing else on it, and I make the 25 jump journey over to Galhan. And I mean, once I'm in Galhan, I go and do a little mining fleet, and I realized, hey, this is actually a pretty decent way of making money. So that's how I started out with my capital of like a few million. And yeah, so I did that, and I got some ISK. And then from that ISK, I decided I was going to need to be able to buy things. And if I can't, Gelhan, it's really you can't really buy stuff in station, and when you're an alpha player, you can't. It's really hard to buy things very easily because you have to travel a lot. So what I did was I bought a Tera, and getting that Tera was my first time into low sec because the place I bought from was a 0.4 system, and so I didn't. The thing is, the game does not teach you about the capsule. When you play the game, you're not aware of a capsule existing. So I was thinking, I went over there on my little venture, and as soon as I pop into that 0.4 system, I just gun it to the station, and I didn't really know what to expect, but I got to the station, packaged my venture up, and threw everything in that Tera, and head back to Galhan. So I just had my little Tera, my venture, and that was really it. And
So,
so yeah.
So talk a little bit about that moment that you described, because when I came back, that's a new feature where the GMs will message individual new players, and because I chose to come back to Eve with a new tune, and there were various reasons for that, but because I came back as a new tune, I also got one of those, and I was able to just message the guy back and say, look, I'm not actually a new player. I've been around a while. It's just a new tune, but thank you very much. But it really made me feel kind of special. It was a new feature. It didn't exist when I had played before. Um, how did that make you feel when all of a sudden somebody from CCP themselves is messaging you and offering to help you? Is that something that you found encouraging as a new player?
Yes, it is. So one of the things that made me feel is that it made me feel like wanted. And the thing is, from the games I play, you don't really see that bunch. Like I play a lot of Destiny, and in Destiny, there's two types of players. There's the solo players, and then there's the ones that do LFG or play with friends. And there's a very big gap because if you're a solo player, in Destiny, you need to like there's raids, and those are multiplayer activities. There's no matchmaking or whatever, and you need to learn the raids. And the thing is, not many people really want to teach people how to do the raid. So you really need to get either lucky with your looking for group posts, or you need to have like an entryway. And generally I got in being lucky, but it's very difficult to feel wanted in a lot of the games I play. And so one of the things, when you have a dev personally reach out to you and just give you stuff, it makes you feel like the community and just the people are welcoming and that they do want you to play this game and they're not going to hate you because you're new and stuff. And so that's what I really thought about it.
So it was a positive feature of the game. I think so too. I think CCP has come a long way just in a few years that I've been playing. I think they've really focused on making the new player experience as good as they can, and there's only so much they can do. I mean, I heard, especially when I was playing before years ago, I heard a lot of people screaming about how CCP should do more, they should do more, but it's a fucking incredibly complex game, and it's a sandbox. You're trying not to cause players to do things. You're trying to let the story write itself. You're trying to let the players write the story, and so as a consequence, there's only so much hand holding that CCP can do. But I think that
If
feature definitely was right on point, and I'm glad that you found it so yourself. So you said almost right away you have joined, and I keep forgetting the name. What Mission Ready Mining, and that's Guy's Corporation. I'm sorry. Um, and so, how has your experience been in that corporation? Have they been good to you? Do you feel like you're being nurtured and getting what you need? And be honest. Guy is right here. The CEO of that corporation is right here in the chat. Is there something they could do better for you? And don't hold back.
All right. So the corporation has definitely been very, very well to me. The nice thing is that in the Discord, you can basically ask anything, and they will help you with anything. You can, if you want a fit, you can get a fit. If you just want tips on where to get money, they'll tell you that. Um, and one of the things, really nice thing, one of the first things I did was mining fleets. So the first mining fleet I just joined in. That's how I made my first bit of ISK. But the first time that I like really did something like big with the core was in ice mining belt, and I remember, yeah, Malcor, you were there, and in Gelhan we got that ice belt, and if you're in Gelhan, you would know of a person, Evan Cunningham, who comes in with his 50 Orca fleet and decides to try and mine that belt out. So I remember
The
just,
botter. The botter. You can go ahead and tell. You can call him what he
yeah,
is. He's a
that
fucking
man.
botter.
Yeah, we do not like him. So I just join in, and I'm in my little venture. I don't have any of my ice mining equipment, so I just join in. I'm just sitting there, and that is like basically I was just chatting with the community at that point. And it was really nice. Um, but after that, I with the another thing that CCP does is you get free rewards basically just for logging in every day. And one of the things that they do hook you up with is a standard like little battle frigate. So I got a Heron. Actually, no, Merlin. So I thought, well, I might as well just fit this out. Threw some guns on it. Decided to go some little combat sites. One of them I failed miserably, but yeah, I just do that. And then fobs. I didn't. Yeah, then the fobs. So if you realize there's a fob going on, I just joined that, and I got the 25, 50 million ISK, and so that's where I'm at right now. Don't really know what to do with that, but yes, this core has been very good to me. It's a very nice way to get into the group activities that will let you get that good bit of ISK and a head start into just get you out of mining into other things. And you can't get Plex without mining. I mean, with mining, so you need to stray out a bit.
Now think very carefully about this question because I really want you to give a solid answer. Think hard. Is there anything that they could do better? Is there something that you're lacking that your corporation could do for you or could do better than they're doing? Really think about it because I don't want to pitch all softballs to Guy. You got the CEO right here. Now's your chance. What could they do better or do differently or something that they could offer you that they're not offering you now?
Yeah,
Um, well,
go
really,
for it. I already got Melkor calling
all
me
right.
gay,
So
so let
here's
me
the
have it.
all right. I'm being completely honest with this. I feel like I have everything I need right now to continue to go onwards, because really what feel like I need is just ways to get into group activities, and this is a very easy way to get into group activities. And from that, they also have a little resource page, websites that you can check out, little graphs. It's very nice.
Well, there you go, Guy. Apparently, you're doing a fantastic job. I want to go back to Guy for a second and have him diverge a little bit. We were going to have another guest, a guest that we will have on eventually, Blue. But I want you to talk a little bit, Guy, about Red and Blue. Give a description of what it is. Give us the whole rundown. What is Red and Blue? Why is it so fantastic? Yeah, Blue is in Discord, Tamiya, but could not join us. She has
I thought I saw Blue in here a little bit earlier. Actually, yeah,
she
Blue's
she
is in chat right now.
she was, but she's in a meeting. I heard we can bring her in. Can we bring her in? Ask her if she wants to come in and tell her own story because she told it better than anybody could. I wish I'd hit the record button when she gave me the briefing before because it was perfect.
And honestly, I don't mind sitting and listening to her voice a little bit more today.
No, we need more females anyway. We got too much male energy here, so that's going to always be one of my things is inclusion in this show. I like to include, be very inclusive. So we're always going to look. By the way, I got a message from CCP Aurora, and she says, hey to everybody in chat, hey to all the panel members. She apologizes that she's not able to join this week, but she definitely wants to come on at the soonest possible time. So probably next Sunday we'll be able to have CCP Aurora in and join this discussion about the new player experience. But I did want everybody to know that she says howdy to everybody, howdy to the panel, and hopes that we have a great stream. And I hope that we're having a great stream. I want to thank again all the people that have followed, all the people that are tuned in. Sorry about the occasional audio glitch. I'm climbing back in the saddle for streaming, and it will get better each show that we do. So please stick around. And but can we get? Are we able to get Blue in here, or what's the deal, Guy?
I'm not sure if we're going to get Blue in. We've got some people looking for her right now. But in the meantime, I'm happy to do my best because
Yeah, please do. Please tell the story as best as you know it. What Red Blue is, because I found it utterly fascinating. I had no idea that such a thing even existed in Eve, and I think that it's just
I
an amazing
honestly
thing.
I was really surprised to find out that you didn't know about them. I figured they would be, pretty high on the publicity list. It
Well, Well, go ahead and give us the rundown because I didn't, and I get around Eve quite a bit. I like to look for the exotic and the different in Eve, and I'm one of those people that will spend an afternoon and jump 30 jumps just to go to the Molia Cemetery just to hang out and check it out. I love the interesting, and I've never heard of this, and I think it's just an amazing thing.
Red
I might be having connectivity issues. I heard he's having electrical sort of brownout issues at his place. So
Can you hear me now?
you sound really good now. Yeah. Oh, and I want to apologize for calling you gay constantly. I'm very, very sorry about that.
You know, I get it a lot. I do. I mean, it's the name. I could see how it could be pronounced that way, definitely. It was actually just a twist. I made this character back when "Hey You Guy" was really, really common. It was popular. It was a thing. So, in Japan, because my character looks Oriental, in Japan, one would typically introduce themselves last name first. So instead of "Hey You Guy," it's "Guy, Hey You." And of course, I had to spell it different, and I made it look gay. So that's where it landed. So that's fine. But
Well, I want to just say that I've had spent a lot of time with Guy in the last few days, both in voice chat and getting ready for the show. Also in Gelhan, where I met him actually, just in the local chat in Gelhan. And I think that people who are digging this show should probably get used to Guy. I'm pretty much going to try to keep him. And if he's able to be kept, we're going to keep him around. He's probably going to be a regular feature of the show. So thank you for everything that you've done to help me boost this show, to help me get the show ready. You've given me the confidence I needed to make a comeback into Twitch streaming. Really, to be honest with you, I was really feeling pretty down and alone in the task of getting this stream ready, and you made the difference. So I appreciate you being here. But back to Red and Blue. Let's dive into that. I really want to hear the description of this thing because it's just amazing.
so it is. I discovered Red versus Blue like way back when, and it's always been a thing for as long as I can really remember. Since I started paying attention to different organizations and alliances. And what it is, it's really simple. The name kind of sort of says it all. It it's two groups. You've got Red Alliance, you've got Blue Alliance, and they exist like they constantly skirmish with one another. It's all for fun, PvP. It's all in good sport. They're not fighting over anything. There's no grand design of red crushing blue. It's all about the good fights. And so,
It was described to me by Blue as they are two corporations under one alliance umbrella, and they are continuously war decked for the purpose of this. Yeah, it's a continuous war between the two, but
yeah,
with zero toxicity. The whole point being, I mean, I can liken it to my
sorry,
day.
Yakin.
I can liken it to my days in hacking when we had red team and blue team at the hackathons. And it was, one would defend, one would prosecute, red and blue. And but it was at the end of the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the hackathon, you all went to the bar and drank and laughed about your exploits. It almost seemed to me something like that.
Now, at just a first glance, it sounds like something you would have to be a veteran to get into, right? Because it's PvP, and everybody seems to be under the misconception that PvP is for veterans. But it's not. PvP is for the day one tune. PvP is amazing. It's the funnest thing to do in this game, in my opinion. It's just also the most expensive. You got to balance that out. So they've got a New Bro Academy, where they actually take new bros, and now we take new bros and we put them in a PvE, and we teach them how to make ISK so that they can go have all the fun that they want. And
We might have lost him again. I'm going to sort of pick up he left off until we get him back. Got him
Can you hear
back?
me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, my
Continue.
issue is the cell phone's push to talk button is really small. All right, so could you just bring me up to speed on what you've heard me say so far?
So where we left off is it's basically two corporations, red and blue, and like I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, but I liken it a lot to the hackathons that I attended as an IT, where we had red team and blue team, which is if you're not a hacker, it's basically red team and blue team will go at each other as if they were adversaries. One will take the role of the black hat hackers, and the other will take the role of the defenders, the security people who have to defend the servers and the websites. And it can be very competitive, almost even vicious in a technical sense during the conflict, but then afterwards you're all friends because you are all trying to accomplish the same thing, which is to learn and to grow. And then you went to the bar at the end of the hackathon. You all drank and celebrated, and it was all good. And when she was describing it, it sounded very, very much to be an analog to that, and I can relate to that. And so you were at the point of describing the fact that, and Blue made a special mention of this, that this is a very new player friendly thing. This is not something
Right, right.
for the deeply experienced players. In fact, they primarily focus on the majority of the fleets and the majority of the battles are fought by completely new players. So go ahead and pick up from there.
Right. And I love them for it because from my perspective, it's totally the antithesis of what everyone else is doing. A lot of organizations, not just Fly Fearless, take new players and try to address their ISK issues because, this is Eve. It's one of the most immediate emergent issues that a new player has to contend with. And, then Fly Fearless tries to take him into PvP at that point. And Red versus Blue, to my understanding, have managed to take a new player and just get them directly into PvP training and still have them be able to enjoy the game from that standpoint, even on an alpha account. And on an alpha account, you're not trying to spend that extra 1.4, 1.5 billion ISK a month to keep your account Omega. You're having good fights on your free account. You only have to
They
replace
give
your very
give
cheap
you
ships.
everything, right? They give you everything. This is what Blue was telling me. They give you everything. Ships in skill injectors. If you are about to go into a battle and they discover that you're lacking a particular skill for a particular mod that you need on your ship to be doctrine or whatever, no problemo. They shoot you the injector. I mean, it literally sounded almost too good to be true.
I mean, it does, but I know the founder Nikolai a little bit better than I know Blue. Not a lot because we were both new bro oriented, new bro focused. He had a project going called March of the New Bros, and it was about providing content to new players and taking these new players and multiple organizations providing them content just for the goal of community growth. And that's really how I started to get to know Red versus Blue. And another thing that they provide too is say I would like Fly Fearless pilots to get some combat training in a war scenario. uh Now we would probably have to drop, well, no, I guess, yeah, we would have to subject ourselves to being war deckable to do it, or we could meet up in low sec because I believe Red versus Blue controls some space. But either way, they've always been a group that has welcomed us to approach them for, a friendly war with rules and, rules of engagement so that you don't have to worry about some of the, War and Eve can get nasty. That's all that really needs to be said about it. War and Eve can get very, very nasty. And you can avoid that because Red versus Blue is there to train new players and have good fights. And it
Well,
ends there. It's amazing.
well, couldn't you, like, for instance, I wanted to join the big war. that everybody's talking about, the war, I guess, now in Eve. And I certainly didn't want my main Omega tune to be involved in that. As you know, I have my own private holding corporation. I didn't want that war deckable. So I sent my Alpha tune off to war. Couldn't people who want to get involved in Red and Blue but don't want to leave their current situation, their current setup, just send an alpha tune off to get that experience, join those corporations and alliance, and get that experience. What would stop them from doing that?
I can't speak definitely on any of their rules or regulations over there, but I don't see why they would have a problem with it. I imagine it would be perfectly okay.
Yeah, so there you go, folks. I mean, anybody wanting to check out this Red versus Blue, if you're like me and you're just learning about it, and maybe everybody in the world knows about this except me. I don't know, but it certainly has escaped me. I think it's an incredible concept, an incredible way to definitely to learn PvP. Um, and so, just if you don't want to mess with your current setup and you want to partake, create an alpha tune and apply. I'm going to search up their link here in a second, and I'm going to shoot it out. But if anybody else has it, please drop a link to their core in chat. And I think that's a fantastic
One
thing.
thing I would like to add about them too, since we're on the subject, you mentioned the big war and stuff, and how you didn't want to get your Omega involved, is Red versus Blue in terms of Eve politics, we'll call it, uh, strives to be completely neutral. While the individual pilots might have their own opinions on, who's who in Eve and who deserves to be who in Eve, the organization has always strove towards absolute neutrality to Eve politics. The only war they're interested in is Reds versus Blues.
Yeah, it's a war, a perpetual war for the sake of learning, for the sake of socialization, for the sake of um, experience, the raw experience of being able to be in a real fight, a good fight, but without all that toxicity, without all the reality. And it is. I mean, I'm involved in the current big war. I know Tamiya is also in the same alliance that I'm in, same core even that I'm in, Pandemic Horde. Shout out to all the PH guys and gals who might be in the chat. Pandemic Horde forever. Goonies, fuck off. Just kidding. Um, but I can vouch for the fact that the war is the main war, the big war is very very toxic and getting more toxic every single day. It will continue to. That is the nature of war, though. I mean, it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's the emotion and the passion that drives these gigantic fights. 6,557 players on grid. We broke the Guinness Book of World Record. I actually died 3 times that night. Um, there's a place for the real wars, but there's also a place where you got to learn how to be in those real wars. And this seems like just a perfect opportunity to learn how to fleet up, to learn how to maybe even FCs. I imagine would be able to be trained to become fleet commanders in Red versus Blue. Wouldn't you think, a guy? Oh, we might have lost him again. How about you, Bronze Thread 77? What do you think? I'm interested in Bronze Thread 77, brand new player. What do you think of this concept of Red versus Blue? Is that something that at some point you would be interested in partaking of? And again, with the understanding that you wouldn't have to mess up your current setup, you could actually create an alt character and go participate in this. Is that something that would even vaguely interest you? Do you find that fascinating?
Well, yes, it would. Like, once my plan basically right now is to get on Sound's financial footing, but if I feel like it, if I feel like going to the warfront, I probably will join Red versus Blue. Sounds like a very nice thing to do.
Well, this has been an amazing show. I got to thank everybody for coming by. I want to thank everybody in chat. You guys have all been super fucking cool. I really appreciate that. The whole point of flying internet spaceships is that we're all on the same team. When it comes down to it, we're all in the same community. This is Eve Online. It's the greatest MPorg in history, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and I just appreciate the civility and the kindness that everybody has shown in chat. The panel members have just been fantastic. Um, it's just great, a great way to start off the show. This is the premiere episode of Flying Internet Spaceships, so with the small audio technical problems aside, I think that it's gone really well. I hope that we're able to, going forward, able to give voice to new things, new people, and people who don't generally have a voice in EVE Online. There are a lot of great streams out there, and I'm one of them who spends many, many hours watching those great streams. But I think that there's a place for people who don't normally get to talk. And people like Bronze Thread 77, just brand new in the game. I'm curious. I might have missed it when you were describing. How long have you actually been playing Eve Online Bronze?
Anywhere from like a week to 2 weeks, not that long.
Wow. Okay, so give us a summation. Are you going to stay? You love it? You hate it? You're completely addicted to it and afraid you might lose your job because you play Eve too much? Where do you stand? Where do you stand on Eve Online?
Well, I'm definitely gonna stay. This game definitely, it seems like something to go to if, I mean, like I'm bored or something. Like, with the new Destiny 2 release, I'm gonna be putting most of my time to that. But if I get too much of that, I will definitely hop on this game and work my way up the ranks. It is something I do enjoy.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I want to go quickly back to Tamiya Cowboy in case we lose him, because as I said before, he could have to go away any second now to fight in the war, which I think is just amazing. But I want Tamiya to please, if you could, Tamiya, go over your streaming schedule, what people who would want to follow your channel. And again, it's twitch.tv/Tamiya Cowboy. Give him a follow on Twitch. And to me, if you could just give us a rough idea of when you stream and when people could connect with you on Twitch.
Yeah, no problems. So I stream from Wednesdays to Mondays, 5 p.m. Eve Online time, 1700 hours Eve Online time. That is 5 p.m. UK time. I stream for a couple of hours. I run level 4 missions, and I run level 4 missions as a background, but the stream is totally open to any people coming along and asking questions. I won't turn you away. I won't tell you to go and read the Eve Online forums, anything like that. I will literally do my damn best to help you guys. So if you've got a lot of questions about Eve, you're a bit lost. You don't want to hassle your CEO, your directors, if you're in corporations and alliances. You just want an easy way in, or in other words, you want someone who can explain things to you in a more simpler manner. A lot of things when, anchor up. A lot of people don't know what anchor up means. You know what I mean? Especially when you're in the fleet, they don't understand what anchor up means. Yeah. So any sort of term, anything like that, any questions, you can feel free and come by and just ask as many goddamn questions as you like, and I'll sit there and I'll answer every single one. It doesn't matter if someone has asked the same question 5 minutes before. I will sit there and re-answer that question. So never be afraid to ask questions. And that doesn't go just for me. That goes for any streamer you watch that plays EVE Online. Please don't be afraid to ask them questions, okay? Because they're just showcasing the game. They want you to interact with them, and they want to interact with you as viewers. So please don't be afraid to ask the question. Even if that's Ron UMC. Many times people have gone into Ron UMC's channel and said, "Hey Ron, how do I do this mission?" And Ron has turned around and said, "Well, I can't really answer that, but I know a nerd that definitely can answer that." And he's literally plugged my stream and said, "Hey, go and talk to this nerd because he knows the thing." And I get viewers coming to my channel, "Hey, Tamiya, Ron sent me over to ask you a few questions. I'm like, yeah, fire away, go for it, no worries.
So there you go, folks. I again cannot tell you how much I appreciate TamiyaCowboy. When I first started streaming, I had a lot of dumb questions, a lot of dumb questions. I mean, and you're afraid. You're afraid. A lot of the other streams are so slick, they're so polished, and you see everybody talking terms that you have no clue what they are. To me, Cowboy stream is completely different in the sense that you really get the idea right away that you are free to ask the dumb questions, and it won't disturb the chat. It won't disturb the stream. Um, and I also want to point out, though, that Tamiya Cowboy's content, his level 4 missions that he flies almost perpetually, are super educational to experienced players. So you don't have to be just a brand new player to go over there and really enjoy his stream. You can get a lot out of his stream um, from watching those level 4 missions. There's not a lot of people out there, either streaming or just regular players, that are out there knocking out level 4 missions like they're peanuts. Okay, and to me, is one of them. So even an experienced player can go over there and learn a lot of tricks and a lot of neat things from Tamiya's stream. And the socialization is unbelievable. The chat that he has is a chat that I would aspire to, where people are decent to each other and kind to each other, not toxic. And I don't mean the jibes and the friendly jests. That stuff's all great. That stuff's awesome. But I meant, yeah, you go into some of the streams, and I won't name them. I don't want to diss anybody, but some of the streams can be, and we all know it, can be very toxic, very toxic. And you won't get any of that at Tamiya's stream. And he doesn't even have to moderate his stream to get there. It's just the people that are drawn to him generally tend to be kind and generous people. So his chat will also be very good and helpful both to new players as well as experienced players. So once again, follow Tamiya Cowboy. It's twitch.tv/Tamiya Cowboy, an incredible streamer. Thank you, Tamiya. We're not done with the show, but I know that you might have to go any minute now. So I just want to thank you so
Yeah, it's
much.
cool.
Just want to thank
Do you
you.
mind if I just say one thing?
Not at all. Please say anything.
Okay, so if you feel like you want to become a streamer and you want to do what I do and you want to do what Malcor does and everybody else, you're a little bit afraid to jump in there and try it out, please don't be afraid. Come and talk to me on my channel in Twitch. I'll help you out and get you on your first step to becoming a streamer. It's not an easy path, okay? You can always come and talk to me. If not, you can always reach out to Streamfleet. We are one of the largest streaming communities in EVE Online, and we will help you get on your feet and become a streamer. So please don't be afraid. If you want to stream, you come and talk to us. We'll help you out, push you in the right direction. And the same with your new players. If you want to come along and ask lots of questions to a guy who's been playing EVE for a really long time and doesn't care what is asked, come and do it. And I'd just like to say, Kleb has hit the nail on the head. He says the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. And that is what I always tell my viewers. If you don't ask the question, you're always going to have that at the back of your mind. What if I did, And the best thing to do is ask the goddamn question. No question is silly. The only silly thing about it is you not asking the question in the first place.
Well, and I think that's a wonderful point too, because second only to new players, new streamers, uh, are, I think, the second most vital heartbeat of this game. And streamers are what keeps this game vital. They keep it alive. They keep it interactive so that people have an alternative to learn. Because there's no way that CCP could ever, with all their money, put the kind of resources necessary to create all of these streams. I mean, you have dozens and dozens of wonderful streamers streaming 24/7, literally 24/7. There's no time when you can't go to the EVE Online master channel where you see all of the EVE Online streamers on one page. There's no time, day or night, when you can't go to that page and find people streaming. And so I think that really, to me, it really hit it on the head. I am not one of those people, and there are some streamers out there who are very competitive. I was telling the story before chat. I don't want to name any names, but I was recently, in last week actually, banned for life from a stream because I advertised my stream in the chat. This isn't one of those streams. If you got a stream going, I want you to speak up. I want you to say it in chat. I want you to link it in chat. I want you to tell me we're going to plug it. We're going to talk about it. I think the more the merrier. I'm not here to compete with anybody. So I think he hit a very good point. If you are maybe an experienced player, but you haven't ever tried streaming, but you're interested in it, it piques your interest, it's something you think you might want to do, but you're a little shy, you're a little nervous, trust me. I have been streaming now, and this is outside of Eve included, for probably about 15 years. I've been streaming. Streaming was one of the main parts of my occupation before I retired from what I did. And so I'll tell you this, every single time I stream, including today, I am nervous when I start. It's just the way it is. I want it to be good. I want it to be perfect if it can be. And you will never not be nervous streaming. So the thing to do is to take that first step, get over it, reach out for help. I know a little bit. Tamiya is an absolute master at it. There are so many great streamers out there that will help you with the overlays, with the graphics, with OBS. And it's not rocket science. I promise you that if you can play EVE Online, you can stream EVE Online. It's easier. It's in my mind far easier to stream than it is to play the game. So it's really about getting over that nervousness of being in front of people, and do I have anything interesting to say? Is everybody going to make fun of me? That kind of feeling, and that feeling is there for me every single time I hit the go live button. It's never going to go away. And in a sense, maybe it shouldn't, because it's that feeling that's going to make you a great streamer. It's that sense that you want to make the show as good as it can possibly be that's going to make you into a great streamer. So I'm glad that Tamiya brought that point up, and please reach out. I'm here to help. Tamiya definitely is a lot better at it than I am. He's a much better source, but any of us will help you get going and help you get started, and we'll support you. We'll be there to watch your stream, to encourage people to follow you and to participate in the chat. I'll be there. I love watching streams. I think every time I'm playing Eve, unless I'm in the war, I'm watching a stream. If I'm playing the game, I got my phone set up on the side, and I'm watching a Twitch stream from Eve Online. So I think that's great encouragement. And anybody who's watching this either now or on the archive, if you want to stream, reach out to me, reach out to Tamiya, and it's super. I think it's super easy. It's not difficult. There may be a bit of complexity to it and a few things to learn, but it's nothing like playing EVE Online as far as I'm concerned. So that's a great point. Thank you so much, Tamiya, for being on. Thank you so much. I really can't thank you. I want to ask you one last question while we got you here, in case we have to lose you. If you had to give two pieces of advice, two sentences, two pieces of advice to brand new EVE Online players, as succinctly as you can, two pieces of advice, what would they be?
Ask
Cedric.
questions. First off, be ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, never be afraid to ask something to anybody. You know, find someone who you can talk to and ask them a question. Another thing is, yeah, EVE Online's a dangerous place. You're going to lose your ship, but you know what? Fly that ship you like you stole it. Don't worry about it. You know, everybody gets blown up. I've been blown up many times. I'm always losing ships. I jump back in another one and I lose another one. I don't care. You are basically the gun. Your ship is just the ammo for that gun. So never be afraid to lose your ship. Just go out there and have fun, enjoy Eve, and fly your ship's goddamn sexy dangerous. That's all I can say.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's literally two pieces of advice I needed most when I first started playing. Ask questions and fly it like you could give a shit. That's amazing. That's awesome. Great. So happy to have you on, Guy.
Quick thing. So red versus blue. Blue Lycian, bless her. She's just had a little word in Discord, and she says she's in Fleet at the moment, but she would love to join in the future with some of her new pilots. Sorry, but they've been very excited and curious about today's meet and fights, and nobody wants to go anywhere. They want to go and fight. So it looks like red versus blue is tussling at the moment. So good luck, red versus blue. Have a fun fight. Have an awesome fleet, and we'll hear from you soon, Blue Listen.
Well, I can guarantee that Blue will be on a future show and talking to us about that. That's something I'm going to keep on her for that, and you too as well. I'm going to be bugging you again, Timmy, to come on this Sunday show when we talk about this because I think it's just so powerful of a topic. I think it's the first most important topic in Eve, to be honest with you, because without a continuous influx of new players and their experience and their story. The thing about Eve is a sandbox, but it's also a story. And it takes every single player's little story, your little itty bitty story is part of that greater story. And every player has a story to tell and is living that story as they play the game. And how boring would it become if that story just became the same story over and over again? If it was the same, 35,000 players logging in continuously, then the story would become old and jaded and toxic. It's the new players, and your story is vital to the entire story that is being written by Eve. And everything you do, every action that you take in Eve Online is another line in that book, another line in that story. It's vital. It's the most to me. It's the most vital part of Eve is to encourage new people to try. And it's not about oh my God, I need more people to shoot. I need more players to come on so CCP will get rich and the game will keep going. It's not about that. It's about the story. To me, it's always been about the story that we tell together. And and so you're an important part in everything you do, no matter how boring you think it is, your little mining venture out there, turning big ones into little ones. That's a story of how you got there and how you did that. Bronze Thread 77, his story is a part of it. Siggy, who we couldn't have on the air, and his 67 jumps on his second day, just so he could try to see a Keepstar getting anchored and see what the war was like. It has an incredible story. You know what I mean? That's an incredible thing. And so everything that you do in Eve Online, especially as a new player, you are the lifeblood of Eve Online. So I think that this topic will be permanent. Every Sunday, I think that we're going to gather here and we're going to discuss that. I want to talk real quick. We're coming somewhat to the end. We got about a half hour left in the show. I want to talk about this show in general and what people can expect. I think today we got a really good flavor for it. This is going to be flying internet spaceships. It's going to be no webcams, first of all. I want people to feel comfortable. I don't want people to worry about whether they're picking their nose or whether their hair was just right before they came on the show. I want people to feel relaxed, and I want people to be able to protect their anonymity. So if you decide or if you're invited to be a panel member on Flying Internet Spaceships, this is going to be the way. No webcams, so that you can feel relaxed and you can be yourself and come on. We're going to try to keep the themes for the different days. For instance, Sunday, I think we're going to stick with the new player experience. We'll do a similar show on Saturday, the same time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that show will be completely different. It will be called Shit Talk Saturday. Kind of for those of you who are regular viewers of the Eve streams, it's kind of a takeoff on Trash Talk Tuesday. And it will be the same kind of format. We're going to just relax, get a good buzz on a Saturday afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and talk anything we want to talk about. Basically, just kind of an open-ended show. People can vent. People can talk about stuff that's usually maybe not welcome to be talked about in other formats or whatever, other forums. So a very relaxed show. And then I sort of decided this afternoon we're going to do a show on Monday, tomorrow. I'm not sure about the time, but you can follow my Twitter account. It's Malcor Rex on Twitter, all one word, Malcor Rex. And I'll announce the time for tomorrow's show. And I think the Monday shows, we're going to talk about the Eve economy. So it'll be about industry, about planetary interaction, mining. I think we'll focus a lot on the changes that CCP is making to the resource availability across high sec, low sec, null sec. These are important changes that are coming up. They're being rolled out as we speak. They impact all of us, and so we'll spend a lot of time, I think, digesting that and talking about that, and also teaching people who are interested in stuff like planetary interaction, mining, how to maximize income on those various activities, manufacturing. We'll spend time during that Monday episode. And that's all the episodes I really have planned right now is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I hope that you will follow and join in. Down below on the Twitch page, you'll find all the information about myself, and the schedule for the show will be available there. My Twitter link is also on the Twitch page, and that all important donation link. If you can, if you care to, if you think that this show might play a role in the future, then you can click that donation link. You can use any major credit card to send a few bucks. I also accept cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and I can convert those and pay for things like server hosting and other things that I can use the crypto for. So if you care to, and if you're in a place to do it, please feel free to donate. A follow is always welcome too, as well. If you're tuned in and you haven't followed yet, that would be fantastic. And so that's it. I mean, really, I'm going to try to do a roundup, I guess, give everybody a chance to say their piece. Guy, any last thoughts? Plug your corporation. Tell us where they can find you. Yada yada.
Oh man, putting me on the spot. No, man, last thoughts to any new players out there. Like, your reputation in this game does matter. It may not seem like it, but this is the kind of game that you can play for a decade, and the other players around you will have been here just as long. Half this panel's been here for a decade, for example, and that was kind of a surprise to me, but at the same time, kind of not. So while you're out there, go find some people that you like to fly with, man. And don't worry about, we got alpha accounts now. Don't worry about if you're making a ton of money. Don't worry about, uh, if you've got the right setup or if you're going to be, accepted. Go find some guys you enjoy flying with. Go have fun. And most of all, like Tamiya said, fly fearless.
Absolutely love that saying. I was telling the guys before the show. It's kind of a coincidence, but when I mine, I always carry a salvage drone, and of course my regular combat drones are there to protect the ship from the NPCs. And when one of them gets killed, I'll send the salvage drone out, turn it into a container, and then I'll rename the container. And sometimes I'll be advertising, like I'll advertise for a corporation, or I'll advertise my Twitch stream or whatever. So it's a neat trick actually. People don't know you can do it. A lot of people don't realize or think about the fact that you can do that, but you can rename a container in an asteroid belt anything you want, and even a URL or whatever. So you can kind of I guess some people would call it spam, but I only make one per belt. But you can advertise. But when I have nothing to advertise, when I have nothing to plug, I'll rename one "Fly Free or Die," and that's always been my saying. No, no dictators, no tyrants. Fuck everybody. Fly free or die. And so I think that um, it's a great sort of motto. It's a great alliance. I'm really impressed with Guy and his crew. I've only known these folks for a couple of weeks now, or even maybe just even a week. I don't know. It's not been very long, but I'm really impressed with them. They're serious players. They're good players. They're a great community. They've been very welcoming to me. They didn't know me from a snowball in hell a week ago, and but they were open to this strange dude coming into their midst. We met in a very interesting way in the belts, as Bronze was describing, in an ice belt, trying to get rid of these botters.
Botter
Uh,
bashing.
yeah, botters are cheaters, man, and that's the one thing that I won't tolerate, that I can't tolerate in EVE Online, is cheating, because it's such an open sandbox. For Christ's sakes, you can do anything you want. You can become a pirate. You can steal from corporations, like Guy was describing. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to cheat. It's really the absolute lowest, because so much is allowed to you to get ahead in the game, that cheating to me is just it's just beyond the pale, really. And there's so little that is cheating: botting, real money transactions, that kind of thing. Um, so, yeah, the botters can die. But I'm really appreciative of Guy. I want to shout out to his entire community, his corporation, his alliance, however many of them have tuned in or will tune in. These episodes, by the way, on a side note, will be archived on YouTube. I will go ahead and tweet that out as well on my Twitter channel. It's already set up. It's YouTube Malcor Rex. I think there might be an underscore in there between the two names, but I'll go ahead and tweet that out. But the channel's already set up, so the plan is I'm recording this episode now locally on my drive, and as soon as I'm done with this show, I'm going to load it up to YouTube. Every single episode will be saved on a YouTube channel with the same name, Malcor Rex, so other people can enjoy. And if you're out there in time, not space, and you're listening to the show, thank you for listening to it on YouTube as well. I appreciate every single person who gives us some attention and some time. I appreciate all the chatters. It's been a fantastic first episode of Flying Internet Spaceships. I think a great start to what I hope will um, become a part of the story, a part of EVE Online, because these streams, as Tamiya pointed out, these streams are part of the story too. I'll give a shout out to some of my favorite streams, Talking in Stations. Guys, if you haven't watched Talking in Stations, it's a great show. So fucking informative. Low on the toxicity, high on information value. Um, Matterall, who is the primary host, is just a fantastic individual. Just if you ever spend any time with him, especially off the air, he is just an incredible individual. Very, very helpful, very humble. I really appreciate Matterall because he's very humble. He's not one of those dudes who comes out and goes, "Yeah, I'm an expert, man. I've got I've got all of this fucking skill, man. I can kill anybody." He's very humble. He's been around Eve forever and still admits that he sucks at it. And to me, that kind of humbleness is precious in EVE Online. So, Talking in Stations, Ron USMC, another great channel to watch, especially lately if you're interested in information on the war. I can't think of a better stream to find out the nitty gritty day to day details about what's going on in World War B2, the very famous war, the largest war in the history of M-Port gaming is going on right now, and both myself and Tamiya are a part of it. We're all actually on the same team. Me and Tamiya are in the Pandemic Horde. Ron USMC is in Test, which is also a part of the Alliance, the Pappy Alliance. So we're all sort of on the same side, fighting the goons. But you know what? My shout out to the goons. My beef in this war is against your leaders. It's not against you. I have a lot of friends who are goons. You're welcome here in this channel. You're welcome to speak your mind and speak your opinions. Um, I have no problem with any individual player in EVE Online. The war is very passionate, there's no doubt about it, and you can expect on this channel that we're not going to be unbiased. We're definitely going to be biased. There's no doubt about that, but we're going to try to keep it non-toxic and especially not toxic against individual players. It's not the individual goons that are the issue here. The main issue, at least for me and a lot of the other players who are involved in the big war, is the leadership of the goons. And so you can tune in for that. We may eventually do a show just dedicated to the war, although Shit Talk Saturday, definitely a good place to come and vent your war thoughts and your war issues. I also want to point out that if anybody's out there thinking, God, I wish I was on the panel, well, get up with me, man. You can DM me on Twitch. That's a great way to get up with me. You can, and then we'll send you over to the Discord. You can ping me on Twitter as well. If you think you've got something interesting to say and you think you'd like to be a guest on the show, then pipe up, because I can tell you that it's not easy to get people to come and be a panel member on a talk show about Eve. So please, if you think you've got something to add to the conversation, let me know. I'm very open-minded to having people join the panel. So Bronze Thread 77, any last final thoughts about you're our new player, our token new player? Any final thoughts? And especially, I would be interested, do you have any advice for other new players? What would you suggest as a new player that other new players pay attention to?
What I'm gonna say is that you can't get all your money off of mining. When you only got a venture, you can only get about 1 mil in about 20 minutes. It's very good starting, but you need to learn how to get off of mining and go into other things. Go into PvE, do missions, level up. Get to the higher level missions. Join a corps, do some fobs, do all that stuff. It gets you a lot more money than just sitting there in a belt venture mining, and it's a lot of fun learning to and meeting all these new people and learning all the new stuff. So you just go out there, socialize.
Well, that's fantastic advice. What a great panel we've had today, guys. Huh? Come on, man, chat. You gotta. I want chat to X up and give some applause and some emojis to my panel, because I think they've just been fantastic. We have really done a great job of tackling this incredibly complex topic, actually, of the new player experience. So, just how about everybody in chat give a round of applause to my great panel. Thank you guys so much for being here. So much. All right, guys. One of the things about this stream, thank you, everybody. One of the things about this stream is the time is sort of open-ended. We shoot for about 3 hours, but that's not necessarily some sort of hard or fast rule. We can go long or we can go short. I think we've pretty much gone around the table. Unless anybody, give the panel one last chance. Anybody on the panel have anything they feel they wanted to say but didn't get a chance to say?
Yeah, TamiyaCowboy says good night. God bless. Have an awesome Sunday evening. And see you on the flip side. Maybe see you in EVE Online. So just be safe out there, guys, in the real world. COVID is about. Make sure you wear face masks. Keep your distance, social distancing. Wash your hands for 30 seconds. Those 3 steps are going to help us with this virus. So please keep yourself safe out there, yeah?
Thank you, Tammy. Yeah. Hey, it was a real pleasure to chat with you and meet you, by the way.
Now, you're welcome. It's awesome to come along and chill out with you guys. And hey, hopefully we can do this again sometime and have some more fun.
Looking forward to it.
I think that's a great way to end it, guys. Please, everybody out there, keep safe. I mean, it's real easy in this sort of bubble world that we live in of EVE Online and Twitch streaming to forget that there's a real world out there. It's super easy for me because I live in the mountains very far from civilization to remember that a lot of you are out there in the cities and in the mix of things. Please stay safe. And, I don't want to bring up real world topics a lot in this show, but I do want to say that anyone who tells you that the basic common sense things like wearing a mask to prevent an airborne disease, okay, or any of that other shit, don't believe that shit, okay? For your own sake, for the sake of your families, um, wear your mask, socially distance, be as safe as you can. You know, we are kind of blessed because I isolated. I've locked down. I'm now on my third lockdown. I'm officially locked down here in the mountains. I have hired help that brings my food, and my gate is 2 kilometers away. The highway is 2 kilometers away. They actually drop the food at the gate, and I let it sit in the sun for 15 or 20 minutes and go up and get it. So I'm locked on. I'm on my third lockdown now. Eve Online has been my salvation. So you're not alone. You have this wonderful universe to be a part of, and this wonderful community to be a part of. But if you can isolate, do that. Do all the things that the smart people and the scientists are telling you to do. I think that a lot of the governments around the world have let us down. Certainly, all the conspiracy theorists and all that other bullshit are doing society a disfavor. Do what everybody knows is smart, and try to stay safe because I want each and every one of you back here next week. I want you back here forever. Um, I'm probably the oldest person in this chat and in this channel right now. I want each and every one of you to outlive me. And I mean that with all my heart and soul. I love you all. I love Eve, but I'm not blind to the fact that Eve is the people. And so what that means is I love all of you. And each and every one of you, no matter what you feel, no matter what you think, no matter what you believe, either in Eve or real life, you have my undying affection and my support, and I want you to stick around. This is a very dangerous time we live in. This is no joke. I mean, we in Eve Online, and I wonder if Bronze Thread has even discovered this yet, but we have Project Discovery, which I'm so proud of. The fact that you can spend your idle time while you're mining in a belt actually helping to cure COVID. How fucking cool is that? I mean, that is just
Are you
literally,
serious? That's what Project Discovery is doing now?
that's what Project Discovery is doing.
Yeah, it's teaching the AI to identify a little, I don't really know, but it's teaching AI to do stuff.
Basically,
That is
essentially,
amazing. I don't remember what it was before, but that's
what
wow.
for, well, we've got a few minutes left in the show. Technically, we've got 15 minutes. We'll talk briefly about. I'll tell you what I know. I was involved in Project Discovery from the very beginning when it first started, and basically, the general idea of Discovery is to reward players in game who might have some extra time, especially mining. It seems to work really good with mining. Because you tend to have a lot of extra idle time when you're mining. But the general idea behind Discovery is to make use of that to harness players' spare time, give them rewards. The ISK rewards and the prizes are very nice, very generous ISK and prizes for participating in Project Discovery. And the general idea is crowdsourced, basically turning players into a giant supercomputer. Okay, so the original Project Discovery, the first one they did, was discovering exoplanets. And so you went in and they gave you an image, and you sort of tried to decide whether or not that image contained an exoplanet. And they would train you. They gave you instructions and whatnot, and they would give you trial runs so you could try it out. And the basic idea was you were discovering exoplanets. And that's a big problem because it's a huge data set. We have these wonderful telescopes, these gigantic telescopes that have gone up. Hubble was just the first generation. We now have several generations into these telescopes, and they have literally discovered tens of thousands of exoplanets. But in order to catalog those and make that data useful, somebody, either people or an AI, which eventually gets trained by this data, have to be able to discover the differences in the images between, say, an exoplanet and something else, some other thing that's going on there. So that original one was about the exoplanets. You can still see the exoplanet skin, which is still available. A lot of people can buy them in the marketplace, and that skin was originally one of the prizes in that project discovery. And I participated in that for a long time. I had great fun with it. And then when COVID came along, they retooled the entire thing. The scientists had a problem. They do a thing called cytoplasm analysis, and I may have completely got that wrong. I may have butchered it. But essentially, what it is they force blood through a very tiny capillary tube, one cell at a time. And as they do this, it forms patterns of the different kinds of cells. And so what you're doing now in the current project discovery is you're learning to isolate the groups of cells because they will coagulate together. So for instance, if there's COVID in your blood, the COVIDs will all sort of coagulate into one little puddle. And then there'll be other things in your blood. There might be antibodies, for instance, in your blood against COVID. There might be some other things like white cells or all of that. So cells will tend, when they're pushed through this capillary, they will tend to group together. But also the grouping is messy. It's not cut and dry. And so your job in the current project discovery is to draw polygons around groupings of cells to try to determine which ones are a group, what actually consists of a group. It's not as hard as it sounds. It takes a little bit of practice, but not much. I'm pretty good at it. I think I'm at 99% now accuracy in my analysis. And you're using real samples, but the point of it is not so much to analyze individual blood samples. It's to train the AI so that it can eventually do it without the human intervention. And that takes a huge data set that can only really be done by a large community like EVE Online. And you get ISK prizes. You get also regular prizes like ships and skins and blueprints and clothing, apparel, all kinds of different prizes that you get as you rise up through the levels. And you're doing something incredible. I mean, I thought the original Project Discovery was pretty incredible. I mean, searching for exoplanets is a pretty, space-worthy kind of thing, and it's a pretty vital thing. But when we turned over to COVID, I just became really proud to be a member of EVE Online. I just can't tell you how proud it makes me that we do this in our community, that we are that conscious. It's not good enough that EVE Online is providing an alternative community to lock down people. It's not good enough that EVE Online has rescheduled all sorts of things like content and stuff like that around COVID to try to accommodate the pandemic and what's going on, but to actually be involved in possibly finding a cure, that's priceless. So go check out Project Discovery if you haven't already. Get involved in it. Use your idle time. You'll get great prizes. Lots of this, guys. I mean, I'm up to 100,000 per analysis now, and I can do an analysis in less than 15 seconds. So we're talking 100,000 ISK every 15 seconds that I can make. So sorry about that, guys. Lost my headphones. Finally died at the end of the show, but we have reached the end of the show. This has been Flying Internet Spaceships. I'm your host, Malcor Rex. I want to give one final shout out to. I'm streaming, but I'm not in Discord. So sorry, guys. Hold on. There we go. I'm back on both channels. Thank you so much. Anyway, this has been Flying Internet Spaceships. We've reached the end of the show. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. Yeah, Project Discovery though, please, if you haven't checked it out already, I'm glad that we had even some panel members who hadn't heard of it yet. That's wonderful to introduce people to it. Um, I think that Eve Online, both the company CCP and the community, are one of the most socially conscious communities and organizations that I've ever seen. They continue to amaze me with stuff like this. I think there's going to be more stuff like this. I've never been prouder to be a part of anything in my life. This is hands down, Eve Online is hands down the funnest thing I've ever done, and I'm almost 60, guys. I hate to age myself, but I'm almost 60 years old, and I have never in my life done anything as incredible or as fun as Eve Online. So I'm a true believer, I guess you could say. And I'm very proud of this community. I'm very proud of the things that it has done, that it will continue to do. I think the future is ours, guys. I mean, this is an import that doesn't look backwards. This isn't like World of Warcraft, where it's all about medieval stuff and swords and sorcery. This is about spaceships, man. I mean, there's nothing more forward-looking than that, right? It's the dream of us someday being able to actually fly around in internet spaceships. I also want to give a quick shout out to the series Expanse. If you haven't watched Expanse yet, go on Pirate Bay right now. Download all four current seasons are available on Pirates Bay. Download them, watch them. It has been called the Game of Thrones of space, and it absolutely lives up to that name. So get out there, and then the next season, season 5, guys, December 1st, man. And you know, Amazon, they don't drop it one show at a time. They drop the whole fucking season at once. So you can get on Amazon Prime and be one of the first people to see the season 5. But you're going to need to catch up if you haven't done so already. And if you've been holding back, wondering if it was for you, trust me, you're going to love it. It is the best space show I've ever watched, and I've watched every episode of Star Trek there ever was. I've watched them all, and it's the best space show ever. So shout out for Expanse. Um, I guess that's it, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Unless, yeah. Oh, okay. Shout out to Picard. Absolutely, shout out for Picard. I'm not sure when the next season of Picard airs. I think it's sometime this fall, but I'm not sure if they've scheduled it yet. I will find out for the next show when the next season of Picard can be expected. But I definitely am a Picard fan, mostly because I'm a fan of, and I can't remember his name now, it escapes me, the actor who plays Picard, but I think he's just an incredible classic, an actor of the classical mold. Yes, Patrick Stewart, of course. Thank you. And yeah, I watched all of the first season of Picard. I guess shout out while we're talking about space shows, Mandalorian. I know is going to have another season coming out. I don't know exactly when, but that's another one worth watching if you're a Star Wars fan, especially. Um, Farscape is awesome. Well, I agree. I watched all the seasons of Farscape. Anyway, we're going to close it out, guys. It's right to 3 minutes before the hour, and that's actually perfect. We were shooting for 3 hours, and we nailed it. We managed to stay interesting and relevant for 3 hours, so we're going to close it out before it gets um, any more boring. Thank you again to everybody in chat. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you, everybody who followed. And most importantly, thank you to my wonderful panel, TamiyaCowboy. Watch his stream at twitch.tv/TamiyaCowboy. Give him a follow. Guy Heiyuu, who is, I think, I'm going to draft him as a permanent part of this show. So he'll be probably back next week.